Okay. Hopefully I'm back now. Maybe. Hello. Why is my bitrate so ass right now? Can y'all see me, I hope? Possibly. I apologize for that. Morgana body slammed a bit too hard and it broke the internet. Yeah, absolutely. I can see you? Okay, cool. I apologize for that, chat. I'm hoping that what I just did will fix the bitrate issue. We have 2 different internet services at our house, and I think I may have been on the wrong one, but when I switched over, it broke the stream, so I had to restart. I apologize for that. So hello, we're back. Hopefully that fixes it. If not, well, rip me. Where was I? Where is the eyelid top L? This layer. Oh no, it's not from that. The nose is on the wrong layer. I'll adjust this slightly. Hang on. Oh, why is that on eyelid top L? Get that out of here. That's where that was. I'm getting an ad, so I think you're good now? Okay, cool. Thank you. I apologize for the scuff. Okay, yeah, you're alive. Hello, I'm so sorry about that. I think I had connected to the wrong internet. I have an internet that I play when I do online games because it seems to lag online gaming a lot less, and then the other one that I use is for streaming, which is really weird because I don't know why it works separately. It feels like if I use the better internet, it should work both of them better, but it doesn't seem to do that, so I think that should fix it, hopefully. Do bottom goes here, and then get rid of the nose for a second. Yeah, I don't know why it's like that, Tim. It happens whenever I play League of Legends too. If I don't use a specific Wi-Fi that I have to play League of Legends, I will get massive ping issues. And then if I use the other one, it's fine. I don't know why. Hi there, French fry. Welcome on in. We are just doing a little bit of artwork today. We're actually doing a piece of art that's going to be rigged in live 2D to be animated. So I hope you enjoy your time here. We have very chill and a little bit spooky vibes. So if you enjoy magic and ghosts, you will feel right at home. This back, put the nose back. The nose is in the wrong spot. I need the nose to go here. And then I need this to not be cropped the way it is. I'm gonna actually change this a little bit. I want to have this in here. Chaotic chill spooky vibes. Chaotic chill is a very good way of describing me. We keep it chill until it's not. We keep it chill until Morgana and Beauregard start fighting and casting spells at each other behind me while I'm streaming. Art, you say? So I could, like, commission Danny DeVito in a wrestler's outfit if I really wanted? I mean, hell yeah. I would actually, that would be a very interesting commission for me to do. I would get, if somebody ever commissioned that, I feel like we have to, like, as an obligatory thing, send a copy of the commission to Danny DeVito, like, and see if he responds. Like, I feel like that's just mandatory. That's the wrong tool. I like to add little highlights onto my eyes. I always do this with, like, everything that I draw now. And then we're gonna do eyeball. Nope, where is lid top R? There it is. Do it. Listen, one of my very best friends in the entire world, his name is Loki, I love him to death, it's like a series of portraits in his house, and it's like all actors and famous people, but like they're all drawn as like Jesus and his apostles. It's really funny. Like, I'm pretty sure it's Danny DeVito in a Jesus robe. I can't remember. But Danny DeVito is one of them, and it is one of my favorite things.
Despite all the fussing, you're not horrible, Beauregard. You're nice to have around. Sometimes.
Oh, is this the rare Morgana compliment? That never happens, chat. See, Morgana, I told you you'd warm up to him eventually. This is coming off my face a little bit. Fix that. There we go. Also, big art pro tip, always flip your canvases. If you don't flip your canvases, you will have things that are not sized properly when you flip them. They just help with drawing so much. Like, I don't like the shape of this eyebrow right now. I don't even know why I care, because this isn't even going to be visible for the most part. But I'm fixing it. Because my hair is going to cover this one, but that's fine.
I don't trust that.
Do you think it's all a ruse, Beauregard? Why is it not? There we go. I like to blend the colors with my brows as well. I'm actually really excited that I'm adding on my new model the eyebrow slit that I actually have back onto my model. I wanted to add it initially, and then I totally forgot about it when I was making this model. My designs normally have an eyebrow slit on the right eyebrow, so very happy that I'm adding that back in. And then because the mouth is not opening, normally if I rig a mouth that is opening, I don't color the mouth lines. I leave them black just because it makes way more sense that way. And then it doesn't look weird where like the line of the mouth is lighter than the inside of the mouth, because it just doesn't look right in my opinion. But since this model is not going to have its mouth opening and closing, we can leave that like that. And now we just have to reorganize the hair pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, and I'm going to turn everything else off real quick. Get rid of all of that. And we're going to take the hair one piece at a time and just add base colors to it, and go ahead and add colored lines as well, just like we did for the rest. So I'm going to go ahead and invert this selection. What I like to do when I'm making base colors also is make sure that I have the entire thing selected. And then just kind of fill it with any color. It doesn't even have to be the right one. Like, obviously, my hair's not red, as you can see, it's white. But if I fill it like that and then lock the opacity, I can just change it to whatever color I need it to be. I gotta go. Have a good rest of stream. Thank you for stopping by, Miles. It was very good to see you. Then we can go and fill it with the right color for my part, and then color in the lines. And then we just have to go and do that for every single one of the pieces. And I'm going to do something fun at the end of all of it, because my hair is partially transparent. I like having my hair be all ghosty, especially around the bangs, so that way you can still see both of my eyes, even though it does at least partially cover part of my face. And it lets me do a lot of really cool things. So we'll do that at the end, and I'll show all of you how I do that. So for this, I'm going to come around with just like pure white, which is not the actual color. I don't use pure white for my hair because if I did, it would be blinding all of the time. And it wouldn't let me do the shading style that I normally do. So it's like a very slightly off-white that has kind of a cool tone to it. So now it looks like this. And we're actually going to create another layer at the end of all of this that is going to act as like a mid layer, that's just going to be a flat color that's just the base color of my hair that fills in all the little gaps that we miss from before, and it acts as like a hairline basically. We'll do the same thing here, just kind of come up like that, fill all of that in. And then, actually, let me look at one thing real quick, because I want to make sure that I'm coloring certain pieces of the line art like this. This I'm going to have kind of fade out into a black because it's not all going to be colored. This is actually going to go behind this piece, which I know seems strange at first, but it will make sense eventually. I'm going to unblock this, and I'm going to actually get rid of some of the line art. And then we're just going to go over this with the base color like this, and then fill it in. Make sure you get all the little icky parts if you use the paint bucket tool like I do. I know a ton of people don't like using the paint bucket tool, I feel like, when they do drawings, but I'm lazy. Thank you for the save reminder. But if you're like me and you're lazy, you use the fill bucket tool, even though you probably shouldn't. And this is also going to have a little bit of purple color for the lines faded out into here. And then when we put these two pieces on top of each other, they look fine and they look normal. And eventually, it'll all go on top of everything else underneath it. The hair back actually needs to move. The hair back is one of the only hair layers that I don't keep inside of the hair folder, because obviously it has to go behind everything else, so that way it looks like it's behind my skull. So we're going to put it behind the chest layer, and then I'll turn off all of the hair layers for a moment so I can color that in. Make sure you get all the little itty bitty pieces. And then I just take my line art color and I go and color in any pieces that need to be inside of the layer. And actually, one of the other things I like to do on the hair back, specifically for my hair, this does not always need to be done for anyone else's models, but since my hair is a mullet and it blends in with the mullet itself in back, I like to take this middle part in back that isn't normally seen and make it kind of grayed out into the color of the hair itself, so that way, if at any point my mullet kind of shakes, you can see where it connects up into the back of my head. And it makes it look a lot more natural that way. So now, when we put everything up here, you'll see all the pieces that we've done so far start looking like they go on top of my head. And my skull is still there, but we will fix that with a hairline layer in just a moment. Oh, you know what? Thinking about it though, I should have actually split the ear. I know I had talked about this earlier where I had mentioned whether or not I wanted to split the ear or leave it all as one layer or not. Thank you so much for the Hydrate Redeem. Thinking about it, I should have. If for no other reason, then it would be easier for me to have the hairline underneath the ear but on top of the head. Thank you for the Hydrate Redeem. I am drinking some lovely peach water. If you are drinking anything fun that is non-alcoholic, it counts. Take a sip with me. Ah, it is a good day for hydration. It's been very dry around the house recently, and I have been severely lacking in keeping up with drinking water. Normally I'm really good about it. I don't know what it is about the past couple weeks that I've just been kind of like a little lacking in that department, I guess. Let's take the mullet piece and to do the same thing again, if I can find the right tool. I always like to make sure, even in like simple rigs like this, that the pieces that I make go up and out beyond where they normally would go, because that way if they move at all, you don't have to worry about there being weird clipping issues. I'm always bad at the hydration thing. I will force you to hydrate. Wahahaha. That is one of the many benefits of coming to my streams, is we will always make sure that we hydrate together. Nope, this did not slip through there properly. There we go. It's one of the many reasons I appreciate streaming so much, because y'all remind me to hydrate, and then I can remind all of you to hydrate too. I know we're not actually going to see any of that fringe because it's not really going to be visible, but I like to draw it anyway in case I decide to do something crazy with the rig. This is going to get colored in like this. And then one of the other things that I do sometimes is sometimes I'll color something the wrong color on purpose at first if I want to be able to see the layer below it, so that way I can make sure that it, you know, is appropriately split up. I'll color it in like a random color and then see like, hey, how does this overlay on the piece underneath it? Do I have everything colored in? And then all I'll do is I'll lock the layer once I have it the way I want and then fill it with the right color, and now you can't even tell. And then we got one more mullet piece on this side. And we will go ahead and fill this in the color it's supposed to be. That on the right layer. Yeah, I should do like a layer count at some point after we finish all of this and merge everything down to see how many layers there are. Because this is a very simple rig and it probably still has, I would guess, like probably 30 layers or something like that for just a headshot. Can't stay for long, but I saw the live alert on Twitter and wanted to pop in and wish you an awesome stream. Thank you so much, Pinks. I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by, even if it's only to say hello. I appreciate you being here. Alright, so we've got all of that taken care of. Let's go and do the other side of the mullet. This one only has 2 parts, but there's no third. Yippee! There's no third piece to the mullet on this side. But we can just kind of... I always like to try to make sure that if there's any inner lines that they also get colored in, so I'll use the paint bucket tool and then just kind of roughly go over them with the same color. Then I'm going to turn this back on so I can get my line art color back without swapping canvases. Also gotta run, catch y'all later. See you later, Tubi. Thanks so much for stopping in. Same thing on mullet 2. And then, part of me wants to get rid of the black line on this, actually. Let's, like, do this and make it like that. Hey there, I apologize, I'm going to pronounce your name probably wrong. Thank you so much for being here. Is it Elgo? Is that how you say your name? I apologize if I mispronounced that. Grew up some art. Wait, hello, is this a raid? Thank you so much for raiding me, everyone. Hello, raiders. How's it going? My raid notification for some reason did not go off. Welcome on in, raiders. It is good to see all of you. My name is Cass. I am your favorite spooky VTuber and witch. We are doing some art today, and I am so happy that you are all here. Thank you so much for joining me, Ray. It's so good to see you. What were you doing? Were you all having fun on your stream? Don't forget, Ray, also, please make sure that you, if you need to, get some water, get some food, do all your post-stream care. Thank you so much for being here. I apologize, I did not catch the raid right away. Mix It Up must be confused because we had a little bit of a stream issue earlier. I'm going to actually, real quick, see if I can fix that, because I think my Mix It Up alerts might be broken. There we go, that should fix that. It's great seeing you two. I was finishing up a rigging commission. Oh, that's awesome. I hope that it came out very well. I'm sure your client will be very happy. Actually, could I please, if possible, get a shout out for Ray Spark in the chat, Mod B, if you do not mind. Ray is also an amazing Live 2D artist and rigger, and they make super cool stuff. Cannot recommend them enough. It is so cool watching what they do. But I hope all of y'all are having a good time. All of our art streams are what I like to call the most chill vibes on the fucking planet. we like to keep things calm during art streams, so there is not too much chaos normally. Gotta rest up and drink some water and make a quick model showcase for them? Absolutely. I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much for sharing your community with me. I really appreciate it. But we like to do our art streams as like COWORK streams. I like to just kind of have all my people hanging out. We all hang out, we do whatever we need to do, whether it's homework, art, anything at all. I'm moots with both of you on TikTok, but I always forget to check people's Twitch. That is so fair. I also forget to do that. Literally, one of my closest friends, all right? Like, literally someone who I talk to on Discord every single day, found out I was not following them on Twitch the other day. I'm in their streams all the time, and I just never did. I just never clicked the follow button because I'm really smart. I'm having a chill time, yeah, and one day I shall draw my pumpkin-headed VTuber. Just gotta figure out how the head will work. Ooh, a pumpkin-headed VTuber would be fun to rig. I feel like I know how the head would work, actually. Hang on, we're gonna make a little, we're gonna sidetrack ourselves for just a second, because I feel like I know how that would work. Because, like, so pumpkins, like, generally speaking, you've got, like, the little top piece, and then, like, a little leaf, and then it kind of, this is gonna be a very lopsided pumpkin, but, like, it looks kind of like this, and then you've got, you know, pumpkin. Generally speaking, pumpkin. What I would do if I was, rigging a pumpkin head, like, especially if it had, like, you know, cut out eyes and stuff on it. So obviously the eyes, the mouth, all of that would be still different layers. What I would do is I would make the center section one layer, and then this next section would kind of be like that, and then it would go underneath it, and then this section would be like that. And then same thing, because it would be a front view, so it would be symmetrical. Pretend that this is symmetrical for the purposes of what I am drawing on the other side. And it would kind of all blend into each other, and then when you turned the head, you could have the pieces show more and less on either side. And then you would just have the eyes and the cutout for the eyes be on top of that. Pretend that that looks, you know, even remotely acceptable, but, like, you get the idea. And it would be on top of that and would move with it. And then you could have, like, the inside of the eye. So, like, pretend that this is just, like, a little cutout pumpkin eye. This would be one shape, and it would be filled all the way in with, like, the inside color of the pumpkin, so it would be very dark. And then what I would do is I would actually have an entire inner layer like this that kind of goes like this. Actually, I'm gonna do this on a separate layer for the purposes of me showing it better, but, like, kind of like this. And then you'd color this in like the actual color of the pumpkin itself. Bear with me here. Let me see. So, like, what you could then do is, like, as the head turns, if you do this, it makes it look like it's going at a different angle, if that makes sense. I know that's a very rough drawing, but that's how I would do that if I were to rig a pumpkin head. Because that sounds very fun. That honestly sounds like a very fun little project. Maybe at some point I'll just draw a pumpkin and we'll see if we can, like, kind of rig it to turn and just do it as practice. But so this is all, like, the base hair layers. And then what I do is I turn everything back on and make sure that it's all layered properly, which right now it's not. The mullet needs to come down. The mullet pieces need to go in front of the chest, but behind the head. So like this. And then they're going to also get adjusted slightly. There we go, kind of like that. And then I need mullet L1, no, mullet L2. And this is going to get blended, oop, not like that. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to take the hair back, just kind of blend this a little bit more as well. So it looks like you can see my mullet is kind of blending with the top piece of my hair. I actually really appreciate that. Holy shit, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Listen, if it comes to, like, breaking down pieces of art to understand how they should be rigged in Live 2D, I'm very good at that. I have a really good way of thinking about, like, spatial rendering. So if anyone needs tips on how to do stuff like that, please ask. I'm always willing to try to answer questions. So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna take a piece of the hair back. I know that sounds weird, and I'm gonna copy and paste it above the head, and we're gonna turn this into our middle hair layer. I always call it hair mid. And all I really do is it's something that I clip to the head layer itself. And what I'll do is I'll go and clip it like this, basically. Actually, hang on, let me not select the part that I don't want to get rid of. There we go, like that. And this layer will never move. This layer will never be warped or anything. It just acts as a middle part for the head, so that way you can still have, like, in your live 2D models, you can still have things like a bald model without it looking strange. And it just fills in the hairline, so that way there's no weird parts. And we just name that hair mid. There is this really small weird part here on one of the bangs. What is that from? I want to fix whatever that is. Oh, it's part of the part. Okay. So that's probably not going to ever get seen visibly, so I'm going to delete a little bit of that out. And then we are basically done with all of the base colors. Beauregard's little arms are poking out, but I don't have the rest of him turned on. I actually want... Beauregard's arms have to go behind the mullet, and right now they're in front of it. Let me find him real quick and move that. There they are. Like that. So you can see Beauregard is poking out behind me a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very quick background, and we're actually going to base the background off of my Twitch layout, because I want all of my stuff to match. I've been working on rebranding and doing a lot of fun stuff with my Twitch layouts, so you guys can see the PSD file for one of my new layouts. So this is our just chatting screen that I've been working on remaking. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it over to the side here so I can color pick from it to make a little matching background. Spatial rendering is one of the things that I'm still getting better at. That's awesome. Yeah, I went to art school, and one of the things that they taught us in art school was to look through objects, essentially, which is like a super important part of the process. So I have this, like, just natural habit, I guess, from all of it, of looking through objects and, like, imagining what they would be like as a 3D object, even if there is something in between them. It's kind of like imagining how things are in spectator mode on Minecraft. But that's just how I literally always do things now. So live 2D came really natural to me, thankfully, because of that. We're gonna take this color, and I'm gonna make like a little gradient. Oop, that's clipped properly, thank you. And I want this to match my color scheme here. So actually what I might just do is we might cheat a little bit, chat. Tee-hee-hee with my stripes. Actually, you know what? No, that won't work. I'll have to make the stripes manually because I want to make it so that these stripes are actually animated. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go like that. Make this. I want these to be exactly even, which is going to be a problem in a moment. We're gonna put this on a screen layer or an add layer temporarily so I can see. And then I'm essentially just gonna create some stripes. Make sure you line these up exactly. I think what we'll do is I'll keep this on a screen layer, or do I just want to make this lighter so I can copy and paste it more easily? We'll do that. We'll make this a little bit lighter than the base color. So it looks kind of like that, and then you can just kind of duplicate these across. And you just line them next to each other. And we're going to make this a really big long piece that's going to go off the canvas. So what we can then do is create a scrolling effect inside of Live 2D, which is something that I do all the time on all of my branded stuff because I like having the little striped backgrounds that scroll back and forth. I think it's a fun little thing. I need to add it to the background on this layout that you see for the overlay that is on screen right now. Because I forgot it when I was rigging it initially. I kept the layer turned off because I was fixing something and then forgot to turn it back on. But that will be fixed, hopefully next time I stream. So you have then a background that we can then make scroll back and forth once we animate it. And I'm going to put that on a multiply layer probably, or do I want it on an add layer? We'll do it on an add layer at like 30% opacity. I don't want it to be super, super bright and noticeable, but we shall see. Do like that. And then everything outside of that dark square is going to get cropped out. And I think think that's gonna be basically it for that. I don't know if I want to add like my border or anything in because I want this to be relatively simple. So then the only other thing that we really have to do is we just have to go through and shade everything. So what you do is you're gonna take each one of your layers and just make a multiply layer above it that clips to it. And you go through and shade it like you normally do. At least that's how I shade everything. I know there are people with painterly styles that it probably takes way longer for because their style is not based in multiply layers and they just paint on top of whatever layers they have. But I personally like doing multiply layers on top of literally everything because it makes shading way faster and easier for me. Beauregard, where is your body? There it is. So I just take a multiply layer, clip it on top, and then I pick my shading color, and then it'll only appear on the piece of the model that I need it to be on. Like, I want Boo to kind of show that he's bending, so we're gonna shade this in, and then I'm gonna erase bits of it out. So it kind of looks like it's fading back in space. And we will do the same thing with the tail, but kind of in the opposite direction. There's something that I've been thinking about, chat, and I don't know if this is something people would be interested in terms of commissions for me. So, I was actually thinking about starting to offer something more akin to like Skeb commissions. Probably not through the actual Skeb website, just because like I'm already a VGen member and I could do it through VGen or I could do it through my normal commission form. But for anyone who kind of wants to give me like creative freedom commissions where you give me like a super loose concept and then like instead of me checking in every step of the way, which is what I normally do, normally when I do commissions for people, I send them like progress updates and stuff like that. But I feel like it would be kind of cool to do like a dealer's choice sort of commission where if anyone would like to, they can just kind of have me go, oh, here's a base concept, draw my character doing insert thing here, and then I just do it start to finish and then send you the finished product, and it's like a what you get is what you get sort of thing, and it lets me do more creative freedom-y stuff. Also, thank you for the save notification. I will save right now. Appreciated. But that's something I've been thinking about offering for a while. I'm not sure if that's something people will be interested or not in, though. Interested in or not, I can speak properly. And obviously, those styles of commissions would likely be cheaper than my base commissions as well, just because, you know, you're letting me do whatever the hell I want. This is going to stay as a separate layer that I actually make for shading, and I just call it neck shade. This is super useful, by the way, this layer, especially on actual models as well. So it is not actually on this model. I can't remember if I did this on this model or not, actually. I should be able to tell. Yeah, you know what? I did, because I can tell when I move my head back and forth on my model. I gotta be lurking, but make sure you save so nothing bad happens. Thank you, Maury! Have a good rest of your day. But so this this neck shade, if I kind of point this a little more, it'll make a little bit more sense. But if you do like something like this, right? And then I normally kind of erase a little bit out so it has like a gradient feel to it. So it looks like that. But then when you put the head on top of it, like this, I can also adjust it so it's in the right place. It should really be down here. But on a model that's like front-facing, where you're doing a full rig, what you can do if you have the neck shade as a separate layer from the actual neck itself, is you can have the neck move back and forth as your head is turning and change shape to match the angle your head is at. And that's super important for if you do live 2D work in making like the head turn of a model really convincing. So I always like to do it as a separate layer because of that, and I leave that completely separated even if I do other shading on my neck and chest. So we can delete that for right now, or turn it off, not actually delete it. Make it go invisible, and then I will go through and turn my head off here. And we're just gonna make another multiply layer, and I normally start on like 50% or so when I'm shading skin, and I do multiple skin layers. And I also, for the first couple layers, I like to shade things in really, really roughly. So just like basic shapes and then not like that. Basic shapes and then I fill it in. Hopefully not the entire area, but like it looks kind of like this, and then we go and we erase out to make them look a little bit more neat and where they're actually supposed to be. Because I want to emphasize my neck muscles. I've always really enjoyed like erasing things out. It always had made more sense to me than like drawing things in a super specific shape. I feel like you get better shapes when you work more with your eraser. But this I want to be like super duper light in here because we already are going to have the neck shade on top of that. And then you put the neck shade on top, it looks something like this. And you can like adjust as needed if it's a little bit too light or a little bit too dark. This I'm gonna kind of blur out at this end here so that way it doesn't like intrude on the neck shade layer too much. Because obviously since they're both multiply layers, they will end up blending on top of each other, and sometimes you don't really want that. Could make like a little Adam's apple in here if I felt like it. I've been trying very hard lately not to use the blend tool super duper much, but there are still certain things that I feel like I kind of have to use the blend tool for. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out that aspect of my style a little bit more, and I like the roughness of the pencil brush that I use for things, and I like using the kneaded eraser tool to erase things out because it keeps things having like a really nice texture. It just takes a lot longer to make things blend that way is all. Up in here to show that this is sort of like where a muscle is. And then we will have like shade marks here because this isn't moving. Normally, if I was doing a full rig, I wish I could show you all this, but I'm pretty sure it would break Twitch TOS, even though it's just like a Ken doll. But my my current model here, I'll bring it up onto the screen real quick. So this model here, I'm not going to remove it because I don't want to get in trouble with Twitch, but there is a full body underneath this outfit. Like there's a full chest, there is like a groin area that just looks like a Barbie doll, and there are full arms, full legs underneath all of this, as well as like feet and stuff like that. And the reason for that is I like to be able to have multiple outfits or the option for multiple outfits on a lot of my models. So that way if I ever decide like, hey, I think I want to add like a summer outfit or a winter outfit or something, or like a holiday outfit, I can go and do that. And I don't have to worry about, oh, well, my model doesn't have like upper arms from their shoulder to their elbow. So it lets me do things like that. And because of that, there will be like separate shade layers that show where the shade from me wearing like this shirt is as I turn my body. Yeah, cast doll now available. But yeah, but it's basically like making a giant doll maker doll whenever I make my models, because I want things to be very customizable, because I enjoy adding different outfits and little things like that. Like even the model that you see in front of you has 3 different outfits that I can wear at any time. Which was a pain in the ass to rig, by the way, but it was definitely worth it. But I enjoy doing little things like that. And this is not going to be moving like that model is, so we're just going to show those shade marks on one layer, and it doesn't have to actually clip through anything. Yeah, VTubers, they're the new paper dolls. We really are. It is a very good way of describing us, honestly. What are we, if not just giant paper dolls that have been rigged to move? I want, like, a little shade in here. Am I blurring this the way I'm not supposed to? Yes. Am I doing it anyway? Absolutely. I can just kind of go back in with the eraser a little bit once it's done the way I want it. I love paper dolls. Is it surprising I like VTubers? Listen, same though. Like, I was that kid who, if you give me access to a computer as a child, I'm going to go on doll maker websites and spend all of my time on there. So it's literally to the surprise of no one that I enjoy making VTuber models. So that looks pretty decent. So we can merge all of that down onto the chest. And then we'll do the same thing for... Oop, wait, that did not merge properly. Hang on. That's not the right color. Stop that. Stay a multiply layer. There we go. Then we can just kind of take the next part of the chest that we want to shade, which is just going to be this shirt and collar area, and do the exact same thing. VTuber, I now look like Gumbo from the hit claymation show Gumbo. Everyone, I will sacrifice all for you. Listen, I love VTubers who do little silly, like, joke models and, like, just goofy things. Like, Moonbitch's TBH creature model is my favorite thing in the entire world. I wanna get that so badly. It's so fun. I absolutely would give myself a Gumbo hoodie, though. See, I'm always torn on, like, giving my VTuber outward references to, like, media, because it becomes a copyright issue after a certain point, and, like, I want to make sure that I can, like, have merch of my stuff, and, you know, and I don't feel like getting into, trouble with people because the Pokemon company decides, oh, you have a Pokeball in your hand and we've decided to sue, you know? Because, like, that would be a very big feels bad, man. Whenever I see a VTuber who, like, their main model, like, if you're doing, like, a little side model or something, like, for example, Ray has an amazing Pokemon model that they use whenever they play Pokemon, which is amazing, by the way. It's such a cool looking model. Whenever someone's main model and their main design has, like, copyrighted aspects in it, it always makes me go like, oh god, I hope you don't get in trouble. like don't put copyrighted stuff in your main design, please, for the sanity of your artist and also for you. You don't want to get a DMCA. You don't want it. It's bad. It's not a fun time. You're welcome. Listen, Ray, your model is so good. All of your models are so great. Like, if you're gonna make, like, a model or an aspect to your model that has something that's, like, a reference to your favorite game or something, make sure at the very least that, like, the company that you choose to do that from is not one that is, like, the Disney company, where they will just sue you. Like, they don't care. Disney does not care. You know? Yeah, I always try to keep, like, copyrighted stuff out of my models because of that. Like, I remember at one point, I got commissioned to design a VTuber, it was something, I didn't design the model itself, but I designed the character sheet that was going to be used to make models and things like that, and they wanted a lot of references to a lot of their favorite nerdy stuff. So what I did was I made it that either all of the nerdy references were on a backpack that could be, like, easily removable, and it was, like, charms on the bag, and on top of that they wanted their outfit to be based on something from Final Fantasy. So instead of taking just the base outfit from Final Fantasy, I incorporated all of the patterns that you would normally see on one of the healer classes in the new Final Fantasy game into a hoodie, so that way it's still their own, it's not directly taking from that IP. Things that you unfortunately have to think about if you're a VTuber and you enjoy nerdy things. I feel like I wish that there was a way for streamers and VTubers, and this is something I've talked to my friends about before. So many of us do what we do because we're nerds, right? Like, I don't think there's a single VTuber out there who's not at least a little bit nerdy. Like, because, you know, that's stuff that we all love. I wish that there were ways of copyright that, like, we could use the things we love without it counting as copyright infringement, so long as we are not, like, directly profiting or saying that we are, like, a part of that thing, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. It would be really cool if I could throw a Pokeball around on stream and not get in trouble, you know? I have a Genshin vision, but it's toggleable. Yeah, like, exactly, stuff like that. And, like, I've designed forms for people where, like, it's, they're, like, a PNG tuber and they want a Genshin form where, like, they've got their vision and stuff. And, like, I wish that was something that, like, you know, companies wouldn't get mad at us about. Because, like, we're not trying to say that we're official Genshin sponsored or anything, you know? It seems very silly to me. There are a lot of things, like, in terms of copyright law that I think have not caught up to modern day yet with things like fan content. Like, it's something that I feel like needs to be looked into more by people who are admittedly much smarter than me, because I most certainly am not a lawyer at all, and would probably need a ton of advice from any sort of lawmakers in order to create something like that. But, you know, I feel like it's something that just, you know, hasn't caught up to modern day yet. I get just this piece. There we go. Being a fan editor was a tragic time. Yeah, like, it's hard. It's very, very hard. And, like, I know other content creators have spoken on it quite a bit as well. That just, like, it feels like fan creators and content creators who do things like gaming are oftentimes, like, sort of overlooked when it comes to things like lawmaking. Even though we have, like, a perfect right to be in this space, like, one of the things that I know that is being talked about a lot right now is, if anyone knows the YouTuber Point Crow, who is a lovely YouTuber who works very hard on all of his content, I'm sure. He makes Legend of Zelda content a lot. And he plays the games. And recently, he started modding The Legend of Zelda. And because of that, Nintendo copyright striked him even on his content that wasn't modded. And it's becoming a huge legal issue now. But it's like, some of the stuff that he was doing wasn't, like, against Zelda's terms of service. Like, the modded stuff I can get, because it does say that you're not really supposed to mod Zelda, but some of his content that they were taking down is not against the Nintendo terms of service, and he's lost, like, I think 20 videos or something like that, that have made him tons of money, and he's literally not sure if he can keep doing Zelda content now because of it, because it's put his entire channel at risk. Like, we need more modern laws for content creation and to protect content creation and all of the people who do things like content creation. Yeah, it is kind of unfair, in my opinion. And, like, I'm not sponsored by Nintendo, obviously, and I'm probably never going to be sponsored by Nintendo, so I don't mind pointing out the fact that, like, I disagree with them on that. It's not fair to treat the people who play your games and advertise your games to all sorts of other people and then treat them like dirt, essentially. Because Nintendo also, from what the video that Point Crow put out said, had copyright stricken his content in a way that directly put his channel at risk. Normally when, if you get copyright striked by anyone on YouTube, like if there is just a strike against your account, they will take however many videos that have the problem in it all at once, and they will strike you once for that. They didn't do that with Point Crow. They split it between 2 different strikes, so now his account is at risk because they didn't do it all at once. Because if you get 3 strikes, you can get banned from YouTube. So it's a very big deal, and it's kind of scary. Like, it's made me afraid to play the new Zelda game on stream, which was something that I was really looking forward to doing once it came out, because for those who don't know, I'm a huge Legend of Zelda nerd. I have written like a 12-page paper on The Legend of Zelda and how much I love it, and like following the plot lines in different ways and making silly theories about it. It's like a super big hyper interest for me. Or hyperfixation, I can speak English. It's a special interest for me, and I love learning about it and making theories about it and doing all sorts of things about it. And I'm like afraid to play the game when it comes out on stream now, because Nintendo's being really weird about it for some reason. Like, if you're gonna copyright strike people just for playing your game, that's weird. I don't like that. And I feel like it kind of discounts the level of help that content creators provide, you know? Like, content creators provide not just content that's fun to watch, but it is also, like, a really good way of advertising for the game. And I think that that's something that they aren't really like considering when they're going through all of this and doing all of this. And it bothers me a bit because, you know, these people don't just play your games, like, they're also advertising for your company, whether or not they're sponsored or not. They're talking about how much they love these games, how much they appreciate these games, and want to do more with these games. And by doing so, they are giving you revenue. They're convincing people to go out and buy the games for themselves by showing it on their streams, on their videos. Yeah, I do really hope that they smooth it out. The last time I checked, which was admittedly a while ago, but Point Crow had said that he hadn't gotten a response from Nintendo yet. I don't know if that's still true or not, so like don't hold that to me, because I have not checked in a while, but I hope that they get back to him and like fix the problem, because that is, quite frankly, kind of ridiculous in my opinion. Like, content creators provide a very necessary service at this point in the age of social media, where like a lot of people, when they learn about stuff, it's from social media. It's from watching their favorite content creators play games online. So punishing people for doing exactly that when that's such a normal thing is very strange to me. Companies legit pay content creators to play their games for advertising. Doing the opposite is just so cruel. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I feel like if it comes to the point, which like I don't think it will, this is not, I don't want to seem like I'm fear-mongering or anything here, but if it somehow came to the point where like you had to be paid by the company in order to be able to play the game and stream it, like I don't think that companies realize how much money they would lose that way. Because a lot of my games that are now my favorite games of all time, like literally games that were a huge part of my childhood that I've now played probably 7 or 8 times, they're all games that I found from watching people like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and all sorts of other people as a kid, you know? Like, it does make them money. Like, and I think it's very silly that some of the game companies out there seem to be forgetting that, like, content creators are here for them just as much as we are, just as they are for us, and it's important to recognize that. It's part of the reason I'm so hyped. So I'm a huge Markiplier fan, which is a thing. I watch Markiplier literally all the fucking time. He is a very large inspiration for me and my content as well, even though we make very different kinds of content. But seeing Mark make a movie, to me, is such a huge thing. Because for those who don't know, Mark is making a full feature-length movie that will be out in theaters, which is really neat. And seeing that, like, you know, he talks about how people in the movie scene don't take YouTubers and other content creators seriously is really sad, and I really hope that him making this movie helps to change that. Also, thank you very much for the save and the hydrate. I will do that. Yes, I believe so. I believe it is going to be out in theaters. I watched like a live stream of his, I think, where he talked about it. And I believe he said that it was going to be a cinema release, unless I misunderstood that. But yeah, it's based off of an indie game he actually played a while back that I watched him play, and I was so excited when I saw that this was how he was doing it. The movie's called Iron Lung, after the indie game of the same name. It's like a submarine-based, like indie horror game that's very eldritchy. It's very cool. But thank you for the hydrate redeem, Nia. Thank you for joining us also. If you have anything non-alcoholic, please take a sip with me, and let's do some hydration together. Love me my peach water. Hopefully it's global then. I would love to go see it. Me too. I'm definitely going to go and see it when it comes out. Like, just in general, as someone who grew up watching YouTube and stuff as a kid, like, seeing someone like Markiplier go from being a YouTuber to, making like movie content is so fucking cool, and really inspiring. And also just seeing the way that he talks about it is cool as well, because like I have a very similar mindset to content creation that he does, I think, like just from hearing him talk about it, Like, he's talked about how a lot of his content creation is, like, fueled by spite, essentially, and to prove people wrong, and I'm very much the same way. I grew up in a not super accepting household of my art. My dad was always very supportive, but my mom's side of the family was not. So me becoming a VTuber, me doing all of my art stuff was very much fueled by spite, because I didn't have a whole lot of support about wanting to draw cartoons and stuff when I was younger. So like I feel the motivation of being motivated by spite and being like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And that just resonates kind of a lot with me. I'm still surprised that he's in Dislight. Yeah, me too. I keep seeing advertisements for it. I've never actually played Dislight, but it looks fun. Speaking about fandom and things, it's super cool to see a director who knows about communities and how to use that for good. Yeah, exactly. It's so cool seeing people, like, who actually, like, give a shit, I guess is the best way of putting it, getting involved in the creation of things like that, you know? And it makes me super happy at the very least. It gets me all hyped up. I'm so happy for this movie that's coming out. Like, I will openly admit I'm a little bit of a Markiplier fanboy. Like, you know, no piece of media, no content creator, etc. is ever perfect. But like, I've always really appreciated the passion that he puts into things, and that has always really inspired me. So like, seeing his content and also being one of the kids who like grew up on like the indie YouTube horror content, all of the old like indie horror games that used to get played when in like the early 2010s and stuff. Like, it means a lot to me seeing the content creators who all got into that doing really big things now, because like I grew up watching them. It kind of feels like I grew up with them. Thank you for the head pats. Only a little? Okay, maybe a lot. I might be a lot. I'm allowed to like one YouTuber. Add a second multiply layer here and do some blush. This isn't gonna be this dark, I promise. I always make my blush super dark and then lighten it at the end. From a player, Dislight is a neat mobile game. It's turn-based gacha, which,
I'm happy
you know...
you didn't give up. We were able to meet each other.
Thank you so much, Nia. I appreciate that. I appreciate having met literally all of you. Like, it is so nice. And like, I was so nervous when I first became a VTuber because I was like, oh god, what if people don't like me? What if I'm annoying? Like, what if I'm just a funky little guy and no one likes me? But like, I have all of y'all now and it makes me super happy. Same, I fell in love with so many games because of Markiplier, but I don't watch him much anymore. See, like, Markiplier is, like, my go-to for, like, oh, I'm working on commissions and I just need something to watch in the background. It's either that or it's, like, my friends' streams will be playing in the background while I'm working on commissions now. You're just a funky little guy and I like you? Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad someone finds me at least mildly entertaining. Let's see, I think that looks pretty decent for the first layer of shading on the head. I'm going to go back through at the end of all of this also and add highlights as well. I do a lot of edge highlighting in my style, and I like to have everything shaded first before I do all of that. If I need something to put on in the background, then I put on your stream or music. Oh, thank you, Nia. Like TLDR, if you don't mind the typical Mobadge format, then Dislight will be wonderful for the vibes alone. See, like I've heard that it's very like aesthetically pleasing. Like I've seen some of the designs of the characters and they are very cool. My internet lives. Hi, Ghostra. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, it's definitely like, it's a very cool sort of thing. Actually, this is also going to stay a separate layer. I shade, I can do like this. I have to unclip the eyeball for a moment. This looks totally normal, chat. This is a very normal eye. Last night was stormy. Ooh, I love thunderstorms. Stormy weather is literally one of my favorite types of weather. It's still really windy. Ooh. Yeah, stormy and windy weather, that is my shit. Congratulations, you have found one of my weaknesses. I absolutely love thunderstorms. And any windy weather. If it's, like, nice out, like, it's nice, it's sunny, and it's really windy, that is one of my favorite types of weather. It's that and thunderstorms. It was so bad that it messed up my internet? Oh no, that's no fun. You know, I'm the type of person who sits out on their balcony at night during thunderstorms and just kind of hangs out. I don't know what that says about me. You look like the type of person to enjoy thunderstorms. Yeah. Listen, it's so nice to just be able to sit and watch the thunder roll by and, like, see it, like, flash and stuff. It's just nice. I find it very calming. I know for a lot of people it's like an anxiety-inducing thing, but I find it to be entirely the opposite. I think it's like the best, actually. Actually, you know what? I should start doing this a little bit differently. Hang on. I keep forgetting this. On my new model, I'm actually, like, you can see it if I zoom in here. I'm making my pupils little diamond shapes. This is actually a very subtle nerdy reference. So I love Genshin Impact a lot, and I am obsessed with the Conrians. I think that it's such a cool concept. So all of the Conrian characters have little diamonds as their pupils, so I gave my new model the diamond pupil to match Kaya and all of my other favorite characters like Dainsleif. Don't judge me. I should start doing that when I draw this more. Because I always forget that I don't have a normal pupil shape anymore. Listen, the Conrian lore is really cool. Like, you can say what you want about Genshin Impact. The game is severely flawed in a lot of ways, but I love Genshin and it's very fun. And I love the lore of Conria and just, it's very neat to me. So I wanted to make a little tiny reference to it in my model, something that, like, it's like kind of like an if you know, you know kind of thing. So we'll do like a little darker diamond shape. This is gonna look really weird for a second. Hang on. Get rid of my eyelids so I can actually see. The story does keep you coming back even if in between it isn't the strongest game. Yeah, like in between, if you're not into super grindy gameplay, you're not gonna like Genshin. I started playing Genshin because of the story. And now I also actually kind of enjoy the grind. It's like, I don't know, I don't normally like super repetitive games, but I like building characters. And for some reason, when there is a game like Genshin, where if you're building a character and that's the aspect that's repetitive, like you're rolling for artifacts and what have you, I don't mind that. Like, it was the same thing with me with a game called Monster Hunter, which is a really fun game, and if you don't know about it, you should play it. If you love big dragons and fighting big dragons and capturing big dragons, you will love this game. It's so much fun. Monster Hunter World is a really good introduction to the series. But I really enjoy building characters, and grinding for like the material parts for the armor set in Monster Hunter reminds me a lot of just grinding for artifacts and stuff in Genshin, so it's the same thing basically. I adore Genshin. My PC has recently decided it hates it and blue screens when I try to load in. Oh no, Arya, I am so sorry, that sucks. I started off playing Genshin as a mobile player, if you can believe it. My experience with Genshin started off as me playing Genshin at my day job every single day when I was on my breaks. So I would just play every day when I was at work, and then when I had a day job, I don't do this anymore because I can't afford to, but when I had a day job, I would actually spend quite a bit of money on Genshin. I am a little bit of a whale, don't look at me. Because when I had a day job, I had quite a bit of extra spending money just because, you know, I had the day job and the art stuff, so any extra spending money I had that didn't go towards bills and necessities, I would do as like, hey, let's get every character in Genshin. And that would just be how I did things. And it was very fun. And because of that, I own almost every 5-star and I have almost every 4-star at C6 because I have a problem. Gotta work, but we'll be listening in. Hope the rigging goes well. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We should plan a Monday stream and show everyone Monster Hunter. I would be down for that, Tim. We can't do it this week because I'm going to be a part of Hazel's birthday stream, but at some point we should do that. Maybe the week after. I am looking for a new game to play on stream. I try to alternate my streams between doing art and doing, like, gaming, because I like to do a variety of things. But we just beat Beyond Good and Evil, which means I need a new game to play. Although I think, I might try to go back to Undertale after this. For those who don't know, hi, my name is Cass, and I suck at bullet hell games. And we got to the Sans fight in Undertale, and I haven't been able to beat him. I tried for like 5 hours on stream at one point, and I couldn't beat him for the whole 5 hours. And I feel bad because I don't want to, like, make people watch me fail at it over and over again, you know? But we might try to go back to that and see if I can finally beat the Undertale Genocide run. I beat him quite fast. Nia, can you beat Sans for me? I can't fucking do it. He drives me insane. I love Sans so much. Sans is very quickly.
You get the kapoo.
The kapoo? The kapoo boo? But I've tried beating Sans so many times, and I've been practicing against him. Like, I was actually really thankful. Bro actually gave me a simulator for his fight, so I could practice specific attacks and stuff, which was super nice of them. I really appreciated it, because I was having so much trouble with, like, specific attacks during the fight. I'm out of practice now because it's been like a month or two since I've been practicing. But I think if I go back and use that simulator, we might be able to get it. I've gotten him to the last, like, part of his fight, on the last leg of his fight, where it's just really quickly switching between all of the attacks. I just need to get past it, and then we'll be good to go. I want to, like, squish this eyeball shape a little bit. Hang on. There we go. Make it show the light of my eye a little bit more. And I also, whenever I do coloring, by the way, I also make separate layers for the eye highlights as well. So I'll now move over here. And I just kind of copy and paste them over to the other eye and, like, adjust their size as needed and, you know, their location wherever I need them to be. Personally, I have Game Pass Ultimate, so even though my main source of content is undergoing repairs, I still have a pretty healthy catalog of games on my PC. Oh, that's awesome. I should look into getting a Game Pass. It'd be fun. I always need new games to try out. I'm always like, all of the source that I get for my games, like anytime I'm trying something new in terms of gameplay, it's because I've heard about it from a friend of mine. Actually, I might, let me see, I'm gonna take this eyeball and I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Sometimes you can just kind of do this. And then you can go like this. Why is that not working? Hang on. 1 second. Take this away. Hehehe. I'm not stretching my other eyeball so it fits properly. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing happened. Looks completely normal. Sometimes if I'm doing, especially rigged art, and I need to make sure that eyes match like that, I will just kind of, like, copy the various pieces of the eye over and adjust them to where they need to be. It's just easier that way. Gotta go actually do food and drink, but your art is coming along so well. Always love the way you do lighting. Thank you so much, Ray. I hope you have a good rest of your day. You can stretch your eyes? Jealous. Can you not stretch your eyes? It would be so cool if I had like a cross-eyed toggle on my model. I could just make my eyes go back and forth in weird ways. It's $15 a month, but you can go to the site and get an annual for around $100. Ooh. PC and console respectively cost less, but Ultimate gives you both, plus various other perks. Oh, that's awesome. Short hair Cass, where's the mullet? The mullet is hiding. Hang on, here, hold on. Oh no, where'd it go? Where'd my mullet layers go? Mullet is real. The mullet is real. I promise the mullet is real. Actually, I want to move this piece of the mullet over, I think, like a little bit. And like adjust where it's sitting a little. It'll look a little weird for a moment, hang on. Eh. Like right there. Right? Yeah, that's a little better. Fits on my neck a little bit more. I've been going through the Halo Master Chief Collection. Oh, that's awesome. It's been so long since I've played Halo. I used to play that with my cousins as a kid. Let me turn our hair back off so I can go back to shading where we were. I want to do a little bit of shading on the eyelids real quick, if I can find the layer. Oh, there it is. We should play one night? Oh god, Tim, are you gonna try to get me back into Halo? Is that what's happening right now? It's been so long, chat. It's been so long. Like, I need to find, like, a brand of game that I really enjoy playing on stream. Like, I enjoy story-based games a lot. My problem is that I suck. But I also really like really chill games. Things like Potion Craft has been really fun. I want to play that more on stream, because it lets me interact with you. I enjoy interacting with my chat a lot when we do things like stream. If you want, if not, I'm gonna play by myself. Okay, fine, maybe we can play a little bit of Halo as a treat. I do like Halo. Halo is like a really big childhood game for me. It's weird, I never like played the plot of Halo, if that makes sense. I always played multiplayer with my cousins, and we would just like ride around on all of the various vehicles and stuff and blow each other up. Where is, I need lid R, it's this one. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually like completed the Halo storyline. Because I never had the system that Halo came out on, only my cousins did, so it was a lot of playing just at their house when we were kids. Power Wash Sim, Persona 3, 4 Golden, and 5 Royal are on there now. Oh, interesting, along with Stardew and Minecraft? Awesome. If I tipped you $60, would you buy Splatoon? Oh my god! Deanie, you absolutely don't have to do that. I would love to buy Splatoon. I feel so weird saying this. If you want, that would be so nice. Deanie, if you do that, I have to do something nice for you, though. If you do that, I absolutely have to do something nice for you, though. That's so nice of you. I really appreciate the offer. Halo was definitely the high school game for me. Yeah, like same. For me, it was more middle school. Once I was in high school, I was more about like... This is gonna sound silly. I play a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. I loved the Chow simulators when I was in high school. Let's see here. Where am I going, though? I heard Sonic. Consider it done. Oh, thank you so much, Deanie. You are so sweet. Yeah, I will absolutely buy and play Splatoon on stream. Abso-fucking-lutely. Because I've been wanting to buy that game for so long.
Has anyone seen my pet lich? I had them in a cage, but now it's empty. They shouldn't bite, I think.
Who released the lich? Who released the lich? No! I remember people skipping school for the Halo 3 launch. By people, Tim, do you mean you? Or was it just your friends? Actually, do a thing real quick. I'm gonna do something very strange real quick that's not gonna make sense to anyone but me. One of the things I like to do
Guys,
is...
I made a new friend. Wait, where are the bananas?
The bananas? What are you doing with bananas? Lich is totally not in the attic. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, Beauregard, did you befriend the Lich? No, Boo, no. No, do you think my parents would let me get a brand new game or skip school? Okay, you know what, that's fair, Tim. I didn't think about that. Me and Tim handshake having incredibly strict parents as kids. My mom is a school teacher, and the only time I was ever able to skip school was if I was actively dying, so, you know. I'm so glad the cave noise exists. Listen, that cave noise in Minecraft is such a jump scare for me. Like, if I ever hear that while I'm playing Minecraft, it will scare the shit out of me. That's why we have it. It's also why we have the creeper redeem. It's so people can bully me while I play Minecraft. I really do actually want to do at some point soon, like a full playthrough of Minecraft single player. I'm so looking forward to it because I've only beat Minecraft once, y'all. Ah! How dare you with the Minecraft creeper noise. B! I knew it was you. I knew. B has so many fucking channel points. B and Tim both have like an obscene amount of channel points. Oh my god, I finally turned PC off. But yeah, I will absolutely get Splatoon. Holy shit, thank you so much. Holy shit, that's gotta be our next game now. We've gotta play Splatoon now. That's the rule. If someone in chat tips me enough to buy me a fucking game, then I should probably play that game on stream, huh? So yeah, we can absolutely play Splatoon. You know what we'll do? Tim actually suggested this to me a while back. Tim suggested to me to, every time we do a game stream, spend the first 30 minutes of that game stream fighting Sans. Just 30 minutes practicing fighting Sans, and then switch to whatever game we're actually playing for the day. And that way I'm constantly getting practice fighting him. And eventually maybe we'll be able to beat him. What sucks is I actually have beaten Sans before. It's the only part of Undertale I'd ever played before doing it on stream, was the Sans fight. One of my friends couldn't beat it while I was in college, and I beat it for my friend, and now I can't beat it again. So let's see, we're gonna do, the part doesn't need to be shaded because it's already shaded in. What layer am I going on right now? This one. Yeah. I'm so happy to hear you're excited to play it. Thank you so much, Deanie. You are so nice to me. I really appreciate it. That like blows me away that somebody would be willing to spend money on me so that way I could play a game. Thank you so much, seriously. Y'all are gonna make me fucking cry. That is on the wrong opacity. Yeah, I already know that I love a couple of Splatoon characters just because, like, I've seen their designs and they're so pretty. The character design in Splatoon is so fucking good. I actually, so I make art for conventions a lot. I work at anime conventions and sell my art, and some of that's fan art, some of it's original, all of that stuff. And I have always had this rule at conventions, and I've only broken it once, and weirdly enough, the rule break was for Splatoon specifically. I always say that I'm not gonna make fan art of something unless I've, like, either watched whatever the show is or played the game, because I like to be able to, like, connect with the people who come to my booth and, like, do things and buy my things. Oh, thank you for the head pats. But I like to be able to actually connect with the people who come by my booth, and so I don't want to draw stuff unless I know what the IP is, and unless it's something I enjoy. And the one thing that I've done is I have Splatoon buttons, even though I've never played Splatoon, because I just love the character design so much. I have Callie and Mari pins that I have at my booth at all times. That are very old now. I should redraw a lot of my old pins. A lot of my stuff that I have at conventions is older work now, and I should really at some point start doing like art streams where we just make new prints and stuff together for me to use at conventions. Because a lot of my stuff came from like when I first started college now, and it's been quite a bit of time since then. My fave is Flo from Splatoon 2, my small hippie wife. I don't actually know who Flo is. I don't think I've seen them. My favorite is, oh god, somebody said their name for me last time we streamed. I think it's Shiver, the blue one from the new game. I really like them. Their design is really cool. I'm a Splatoon 3 stan, it's addicting. It looks like so much fun. Actually, here's a question. Aberdini, you're the one who's doing this lovely, amazing, nice thing for me, so I will absolutely let you pick. Do I buy Splatoon 1? What am I doing here? Because I don't know, like, anything about the plot of Splatoon. I don't know if the plot, like, matters in terms of which game you buy. Like, I don't know if they're all continuations of each other. Do I start with Splatoon 1? Or do I go to, like, the most recent game? I will absolutely, you can pick, and that is what I will buy. Because I want to make sure that I play the series properly. Oh, was 1 on the Wii U? Yeah, then I don't have a Wii U, so I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm so used to the game being talked about on the Switch that I didn't realize that it was 4 different systems. Yeah, maybe what I'll do is, like, actually, I know what we could do, chat. So, I know we do, like, movie nights and stuff. What if, in order to get me caught up on Splatoon lore, I pick, like, a YouTuber that has done a Splatoon playthrough, and we watch the Splatoon playthroughs up until the most recent game, so that way I can be caught up on the lore, and then I can get the most recent game, and then play the most recent game and be caught up. I also started out knowing nothing about the series, so I'd start with 3. It's the most fun, and the online is not full of hackers like the other games. Okay, yeah, so I will buy Splatoon 3, and then we will play Splatoon 3 on stream. And I will do like a movie night or something where we sit and watch someone play through the first 2 games so I can understand what the fuck is going on. Chugga Conroy? I've never watched Chugga Conroy. I know nothing about Chugga Conroy. I should look into Chugga Conroy. I know him by his name. And that's it. Hi there, Casey. Thank you so much for the resub. Welcome on in. It's good to see you, my friend. Tee is in your face. Casey, you're such a meme. I love you. If you guys are not already following Casey on Twitch, fucking go follow him. He's wonderful. He's amazing and beautiful, and I love him. Can I please get a shout out for Casey? I'm in the chat if any of my mods are able to. I appreciate it. My favorite space monster. Let's see, I need the hairback layer quick. So the hairback layer is gonna get a little messy, and I promise there's a method to my madness. We're gonna get rid of all of this. All of it. Oh my god, there's so many layers. We are going to have to count these layers so I can do like a check and see how many it is just for a headshot. I'm consuming a 12-inch sub right now. Share? I want Subway so bad. Subway sounds so good right now. I have not had Subway in a hot minute. So for the, not the G note, for the hair back, because the hair back is going to interact directly with the middle hair layer that we use as the, like the hairline layer. So I'm going to actually not put this on a clipping layer, and we're not going to merge it right away, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So we're going to shade this like it's the whole thing, basically, and this is going to start out really rough because, whenever I shade things like this, I start very rough and then kind of make them more detailed as I go. Just kind of color all of this in. Hi there, Omega. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to Half Moon Hollow. Found the lich. Oh no! Thank you for the save reminder. Whenever I start out shading a hair back piece, it starts out very rough because obviously a lot of this is going to be covered by the head. And it also interacts with one of the other layers that I create, so I keep it separate and then copy it over to the other layer so they're blended properly together. So we're gonna go and we're gonna start adding in the actual areas of highlighting here. Hello, hello! Welcome on in! It's good to see you. Is it Omega Tay? I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. Please correct me if needed. Oh, one moment, I just threw my tablet pen. Get back here. Ah, and I got hit with ghosts. How dare you? I thought that it said Cass is stinky and needs to leave, and I was like, holy crap, what did they do? That's it. Guys, I've gotta go. Every time you redeem the needs to save command, I'm just gonna leave stream. We're gonna restart all over again. It's gonna be like earlier today. Just, I gotta go. I gotta go. You got it right the first time? Okay, cool. Just making sure. Thank you so much. I know that I am not always the best at pronouncing names, so like if I ever get your name wrong, first of all, please know it's not on purpose. I'm not mean, I'm just an idiot. And also please correct me. I want to get everyone's names right. So I normally start off just kind of like doing really simple shading like this, where you can kind of see the highlights a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll go in with my eraser tool at like a low opacity and kind of create reflective light like this. And it looks very messy, but it's going to look really cool once it's done. And this creates kind of like a gradient feel. I kind of tend to blend the edges of these shadows in a little bit, so it kind of feels like they're going back in space more. And then I will test it by turning the hair front back on and just making sure that everything like lines up properly. Like this actually needs to be a little bit different. This needs to kind of come up and in more. And this process changes a little bit, by the way, when you're doing like a fully rigged model. Like the models for Live 2D that I make the art for are much more detailed than this, because that needs to be broken up into a lot of like smaller parts as well. But when you're just doing like a simple headshot rig like this, where it's going to be exported as like just a still image, or not a still image, but a moving image, you can sort of plot it all out ahead of time, and anything you know that isn't going to need to move just can stay as it is. Or if you know, like, even the movements that you're doing aren't going to get covered by something, you can just leave that however you need to have it. And then this side also needs to come up a little bit more. We're going to kind of do one of these. This is going to look really messy when I take it off on the underneath part in a second. Icky. Let's clean this line up just a bit. And then kind of blend this all together. But like, you're not going to really see this part super much unless the hair kind of reveals it a little bit as it moves, but even then it's not going to be super noticeable, so I don't mind leaving this like this. Because that goes in front of it, and then our head's going to go in front of it on top of that. So the other thing that I really want to make sure that we have on this multiply layer is the topmost part of your head, where your part is and where your hair comes together, is normally quite a bit darker. So what I normally do is I just kind of make like a little shape here that represents like where the hair is ducking inwards and going into your skull. Kind of clean that up so it follows my hairline a bit. And then same exact thing, just kind of blend it out with my rough little eraser tool to add some texture and stuff to it as well. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll blur this first layer out a bit, and then we'll add a second layer on top of that that does the exact same thing, but it's smaller, and it kind of shows like, oh yeah, this is where their hairline is. This is where the creases in their hair are. Multiple multiply layers, by the way, are like my best friend when it comes to drawing. I feel like if I tried to do everything on one layer, I think I would just die. So we take that and we copy it, and then we're going to clip it to the hair back layer, and then we're going to do the exact, we're just going to take the layer we copied and we're going to put it on top of this layer that appears. You'll see that this looks really weird right now, like it kind of cuts in front of some of the pieces we need. But if we take it and we clip another multiply layer to it, you can't even tell. And then when I remove the layer, I'm switching the layer on and off now, you can't tell that there is like a problem. And since the hair mid isn't going to move, we just have to make sure that it all stays matched up as the back of the hair is moving. Thank you for the hydrate, Redeemamoo. If you have something to drink with you, anything non-alcoholic counts, take a sip with me and tell me what you're drinking in the chat. I'm continuing to drink this liter of peach water that I have. I want to get back up to drinking 2 liters of water a day. That's like a goal that I need to set for myself. Because I used to drink 2 liters of water every single day, and it was very good for me, and it's really weird. When you hydrate yourself properly, chat, you will have so much more energy. Like, just making sure that I was hydrated properly gave me so much energy, and I miss that because I haven't been doing a good job of it lately. So what we end up with is this. And I want to add a little bit of shading to my ear, I think. I might make my ear a little smaller. Does my ear look huge to anyone else? Hang on. Hold on. Let's fix that. Hang on. Just gonna kind of select this. Gonna make the ear a bit smaller. And yes, a cast tip of the day. I'm gonna have to adjust the hairline later. Yeah, chug water, please. It's so good for you. I promise I'm not just saying that to make you drink things, but like, it really does help. It helps with a lot of my fatigue, because I have some pretty bad fatigue issues, partially because like the depression is a thing, but just kind of in general. And I'm not really sure where they come from, but drinking a lot of water does help just kind of keep me going throughout the day. Like, it certainly doesn't fix all of my problems, but it's a start, you know? Where is the hair mid layer? Oh my god, I'm scrolling through so many layers. There we go. Kinda carve that back out. Make my ear look a little bit less huge. That's a little better. And so we just need to shade the mullet parts now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all the layers on top of that temporarily. And we can go through and just do each mullet piece. What I like to do is, since the mullet is all overlaid on top of each other, I'm going to turn the little fringe pieces down to a lower opacity so I can still see where they are. And then I'll know where I'm like shading the shadows on them from. So like, there's gonna be a shadow like this that I then will know the shape of. And I try to shade underneath it a bit so that way you can tell when it's moving that it's like, you know, you can move the shadow back and forth and not have it be in a weird spot and have it kind of clip strangely. Blend that so that way it doesn't look strange if we move it back and forth and it clips through a little. Uh-oh, water. Sometimes I forget to drink water, and later when I get a migraine I'm cursing my past self. That's a mood. That's a very big mood. So I want to make sure that this portion up here is shaded. So that way you can kind of see that like it comes out from the head and you can kind of tell where the strands are. Kind of show it here too so you can see that it kind of curves up here. God, I'm gonna have that bottle of water meme stuck in my head now. That's a very funny series of videos. If anyone has not seen that, type in bottle of water, like just with no consonants in the middle onto YouTube. It's so funny. blend these out a little bit. Perfect. And then we can take this one and turn it up to full opacity and shade it. And this also helps it not, like, you can sort of see if there's something that's overlapping improperly. Like, there's a little piece here that I don't particularly appreciate being the way it is. You fix that. And you can fix it. Make a new multiply layer. Is it cool if I leave the tip when I'm paying off the rest of the commission? Absolutely, Deanie. That is totally fine. Listen, I appreciate you doing this at all. That's so sweet of you. Literally, the thought of anyone being willing to pay money so I can play a game that I've never gotten to play before is so sweet. Seriously, thank you so, so much. Like, that is wild to me. And this I think I want to have blended just a little bit. Carve this back out. Maybe not like that. One sec. There we go. Actually, I don't know. I can't tell the way I want this curve to be. I don't want it to get too light on the ends. That's better. It's no problem. I'm happy to help where I can. Well, thank you. You are literally the best. Holy shit. I am so bad at saying thank you, but I want you to know I mean it so sincerely. Thank you so, so much. I always feel like my thank yous never come off as genuine because I'm bad at expressing that kind of emotion, but truly, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that so fucking much. Unfortunately, work calls, so I gotta go. You guys have an amazing rest of your stream. You too, Deanie. Have a good day at work. I add like a little bit of like edge light here and just kind of erase out part of the shadow, let the edge show through a little more. What this does, like, ooh, hello, I scrolled over. So when I create like this little effect here where you can kind of see the base color showing through on the bottom, it's so this shadow and this shadow don't look exactly the same. It helps separate them and create like a sense of depth. And that's like a huge part of my style, and it's why edge highlighting is so important to my style, because I feel like without it, all of my art would look very flat, and it helps add just a little bit of pop to some of the areas where normally you would see a little bit of difference in the lighting. Because I don't know technically if my my style counts as cell shading, because like it starts out as cell shading, and then I use the eraser tool to sort of make it a little bit more complex than base cell shading. So I don't know if that's like considered painterly style or not. I don't know, my style is just mine. I don't know what to call it. You can kind of do stuff like that, and it creates just a little bit of separation between the hair pieces, and it's gonna look really cool when they move too. That is one piece of the mullet done. We're gonna do something a little different on the second piece of the mullet. So if I take the shade color, because this is obviously behind everything else, we're gonna go like this, so I can see through this. And with this one, I'm gonna go and erase out the parts that I want highlighted. Because since this one is kind of behind my neck and I'm turning away from it, it's going to be more in shadow than the other piece. Not by like a ton, but it's still going to make a difference if we show that in the shading. This is gonna come up like this. Just gonna smooth this out a little bit more. And then I'm gonna go back in and create some more individual strands just like we did on the other side. This is going to be very fun because it's going to give me a new icon for all my social media. And some social medias let you have animated icons now, which is very fun. Like I know Discord does. So I'll probably use like a still version of it on some forms of social media and then the animated version on places like Discord so I can go and have a ton of fun with it. Turn this on all the way and make sure it blends properly. One of the things I also really want to do, and this would be very fun, is I want to start like, I used to do this a lot, especially for like commissions and things like that, and I just haven't gotten the opportunity to recently because a lot of my commissions are like PNG tubers and things like that, where the opportunity for this sort of artwork isn't available. But I used to do really cool, like really heavy lighting based pieces where like things would be backlit and it would be super super dark and kind of gloomy. It's very fun to shade like that. I love doing like different lighting effects on the face and stuff, but unfortunately PNG tubers and VTuber models need to be front lit and in natural lighting, not in like special fun colors of lighting and stuff, so I haven't gotten to do that a lot lately. At some point I should make a little icon for myself that just lets me have fun with lighting again, because it's been a hot minute since I've been able to do that. Just to not be that pronounced. There we go. So then, if I take all of our other layers and I turn them on, we end up with this, which does not look too bad. Now I am going to show something very fun for chat. If you have a character that has hair like mine, where or if you just want to have them have hair where it has like the transparent bits and still have it move in live 2D, this is how you can do that. So just take any color at all. I'm just going to take like a desaturated kind of red color because it's a good contrast. Make a gradient going upwards. You don't want to make it too strong of a gradient, and then go over to where your layers are, right click on the layer you just made with the gradient, do selection from layer and create selection. Delete the layer, you don't need it anymore. And then what you can do is you can go to all your bangs and you just click the delete button. And you can see that that starts making more of the head show through. I feel like I actually made that a little bit too strong though. We're gonna make the gradient a little bit less, it's gonna go a little less far. Like that. So we can kind of do one of these. Gonna go like this. And I like to make it where like I can just delete it multiple times if I need to. Try to make it so the gradient that you're creating is not enough or just right. Don't try to make it too strong of a gradient when you're deleting it, because otherwise parts of your hair that you don't want people to see are going to become see-through. And then you'll see like the base of the skull and that becomes kind of too much, but we can kind of do this, and now you can see a little bit more of my eye peeking out from behind the hair, and it doesn't mess with any of the pieces at all, and I can like overlay the pieces on top of each other when they move, and you'll be able to see them through each other. It's very cool. And it creates kind of a ghosty effect, obviously, as we do around here. Makes it a little spooky, but also it works even if you're not spooky themed, because you can see through different strands of hair. That's it's a very interesting and easy way to make it so your hair feels more believable and a little bit more realistic, because obviously they're all like they're all just like moving back and forth, and you can see between them normally. So it's just a fun thing I like to do. But let's add some finishing touches. I do want to add on the head layer just a little bit more shading on the ear, because it feels very flat to me right now, so we're going to do that. Need to turn the hair off for that. I'm blind, I didn't even notice this light transparent. That's so cool. Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things about my model. I'm so happy that I had the idea a while back. Weirdly enough, the first time I ever did transparent hair was for an animated headshot of myself, actually. It was the first one that I ever made. So it's just like this one. This is actually where I got the idea to start doing it on my model. Let's back up. Not super worried about this looking super detailed because a lot of this is going to get covered by hair. But I want to show that there is a shadow there. Like that. Turn this down to like 50% or so. Smaller brush. That's a little better. And I can turn the hair layer off again real quick. I'm just going to blend all this because you're not really going to be able to see this unless the hair is moving out of it. So I want it to be neat enough to where it's not noticeable if the hair moves back and forth there. Alright, and that is just about done with that. All we really need now is to go ahead and make the highlight layers for everything. And I do two different types of highlighting layers. The first layer that I normally do is the more specific of the two layers. And that is just, we go on the same thing that we've been doing, where we've been creating little clip layers for each layer. And instead of doing multiply layers, we're going to do add layers now. And these will all get merged into the individual pieces at the end as well. For the skin, I normally take like a really dark, like brown or orange color. I come back and see the handsome face of my guardian. Thank you, Mari. It's me. But so I'll turn the hair off for this. And what we'll do is, since it's kind of basic lighting, it's not anything super special, we'll take this really saturated dark orangey brown color and we'll go around one side of my face and chin, kind of like this, and it creates this rib lighting sort of effect. Clean that up in here. And then I also add a highlight on the nose that goes up like this, on the center point of the nose, because it shows the high point. And this I actually blend out a little bit. And sometimes I even go and I make little tiny highlights behind the eyes here. It depends on the rig and it depends on what piece of art I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like they fit more than others. Completely depends. And then I will go around like the outside of the ear and do kind of the same thing. And it just adds a little bit of pop to the piece. This is actually not quite as bright as I want it to be. I want it to be like almost white, not quite. So it still keeps that kind of yellowy tone and keeps that warm tone. What color is that actually? It's like this color. So this is the actual color that the layer is. And then you just place it on an add layer and it can create little highlights on your face for you. I'm also going to put some highlights on the lips as well. Make my lips all glossy and pretty. And this one I can actually kind of blend out a little bit as well. And sometimes what I will do, if it seems a little too bright, I'll erase it out until it becomes sort of the tone that I need it to be. There we go. So a little less noticeable, still keeps it nice and shiny. And then we can merge that down into the head, and we just do that for every part that we need highlights on. So I'll find the body next, which is here. Same exact thing. And I know my neck shade just disappeared. It's because I'm clipping something differently. That'll just be temporary. I'm going to get rid of all of these other layers so that way I can actually see what the hell I'm drawing. Flip that onto there and we'll go and do the same thing. And actually, I'm just realizing now I am actually missing one more thing. There is a skull lapel that is supposed to go on my collar there that I should add in. We'll do that in a moment. And I try to do all the pieces that are the same material at the same time. So for a piece like this where it's just a headshot, I'll do all the pieces that incorporate skin first. So that way, if I need to change the color of my highlight, they don't look different from each other, if that makes any sense at all. And we'll just kind of add some highlights on the other side of the collarbones and things like that to kind of make them pop out a little bit more. Kind of looks like the light is catching off of my fancy little collarbones. And that's all we really need on the skin for that. The neck tends to not get a ton of highlighting on it just because obviously your chin is covering it and casting shadow on it. And that's it for skin layers. So we'll do another one right on top of the chest layer again and go in and do the same thing for the shirt and my jacket. And for that, I normally like to do, it has to be really desaturated because my shirt is gray, obviously. But I like to do like a bluey, purpley toned color. I'm just messing with it until I find a color that I like the tone of. A little cooler. That's not bad. And then we can just kind of do the same thing. So for this, I'm going to go and create like a highlighted effect on the edge of my collar. And I'm probably going to turn this layer's opacity down because this is still very bright. Whenever I do all of my edge highlighting, I always start off making it brighter than it needs to be, and then I can tone it down by lowering the opacity. Because it's much easier to make things less bright in Clip Studio than it is to make them brighter. Around like this. Although this isn't even going to be visible, so I don't know why I'm bothering, but it's fine. And you can kind of create these little areas of highlight from the light sort of bouncing off of different areas on my coat. There's going to be a little bit like this. Sometimes what I like to do is when something is bending or creasing, especially in clothing, you can put a highlight right up against the shade and then kind of go and make a shape sort of like this where it blends into each other a little. And it can make a really cool effect like something is sort of being folded where one side is getting hit by the light directly and one side is not, and so it's in shadow. And then so what I'll do now is I'm going to tone this down to about 50%. And it makes it a lot more subtle. Then we can go in and add just some general edge highlights and stuff around here. I don't think I want one on that side because that's going to be covered by my mullet anyway. And then same exact thing for the darker portions of my jacket, the outer portion of my jacket. It's going to be like this. So what I like to do is if you wear a suit jacket, and you can see it on my shirt now as well actually, if you look at my model, there is a crease because where your shoulder is, there is a seam. And one of my favorite things to do is to add a little bit of highlighting where that seam is on one side. And it makes it look like the light is catching the one side of the seam. Kind of like that, and then we'll have a little break there. And it looks like the seam is a little bit more defined. Little tiny details of things. Like, it doesn't matter overall in the grand scheme of things a whole lot, but I like how it looks, and like it sort of adds to the stylization of it because it's not entirely realistic, obviously. But I think that it's fun to play with lighting like that, even if it's not wholly realistic. Because I feel like it makes it seem more like a 3D object, at the very least. It makes it seem like, hey, there is light bouncing off of different parts of this because it is creasing, because it is doing all of these things. That's all we really need for that layer. Turn that back on. The boot arms can go back on. So, when I do hair stuff, for highlighting hair, my hair gets done a little bit differently actually than I do for a lot of other people's, because my hair is white. So obviously it's kind of hard to highlight white, and there are two ways that I like to do it. If I'm doing a more experimental piece where like I'm playing with color and I'm playing with lighting a lot more, I will do the highlights in like a super bright color. So one of the things you can do, I'm just going to do it over top of this because I'm not actually going to be doing it this way, but like I like to take like a contrasting color. So this is a very cool piece. It's very cool toned, obviously, because I have a lot of blues and purples and black in my design that becomes a very cool toned black. Hello there, Mersephone. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in, Raiders. My name is Cass. I am your local spooky witch and artist friend. We are having a little bit of a good time drawing right now. I hope you had a lovely stream, Mersephone. Please, if you need to, go ahead and get some water, get some food, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, and thank you for sharing your community with me. So what I can do sometimes, and I'm not going to do this on this piece because this isn't meant to be like super experimental or anything, is let me find the right tone right in there. But you can do, if you have white hair on a character, really fun stuff with like, let me see, what can I put this on where it's going to be bright color? There we go. But you can do really fun stuff by highlighting with super bright fucking colors. It's very fun. So I would normally do something kind of like this if I was having a ton of fun with a piece and going in and doing crazy colors and stuff. And you can do this with shading too. It's very fun to play with. And you can kind of change it around until it does something that you think is pleasing to the eye. Like, for me, blue and orange are opposites, so doing like an orange or a yellowy tone is really fun because it makes them contrast very, very nicely. I'm not going to be doing that for this one because I want this to be a little bit more of a natural headshot, but that's something you can do if you want to have fun and play with color, especially if your character has white hair, because otherwise it's kind of hard to highlight white hair. It's already white. So we will go through and I will be making a slight change to this by taking a nice purpley color and then using it to highlight. And that's why I don't make my my model's hair pure white. It's so that the highlight can be pure white. How's the stream going? The stream is going absolutely lovely, Mersephone. Thank you so much for asking. We're having a ton of fun. This is going to be an animated headshot. So in just a moment here, because I'm almost done with it, we will be swapping over into Live 2D, and I will show you guys how I animate all of my stuff in Live 2D. So Fringe R is this layer. So you'll see it's very slight. It's like very, very slight. But you can create little highlights even on white hair if you make your white that you use not a pure white, and then you can highlight it with pure white. Oh my goodness, can I refill this? Thank you. Thank you, Clip Studio, for filling the shape that I asked you to fill. So I normally just go through and add little highlights to little parts of my hair. My hair doesn't normally need a lot of highlighting either, because again, it's a very light color to begin with. Normally the highlights on hair show through a lot more on darker hair tones in my style. But that is a-okay. This on an add layer, this layer, and then I'll go over this little ridge that I erased out before and make it pop even more by adding it to the highlight layer. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. We've been having some good talks. We had a viewer who I love so much, their name is Aberdini, is going to be donating money for me to be able to buy Splatoon, which is awesome. So we're going to be talking about Splatoon a lot, and we're going to be playing that on stream soon at some point, Mersephone. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, maybe stick around. We have a very good time. Yeah, I like to do just like, I like bubble highlights a lot too on hair. I don't know why. I know it's not realistic at all, but I think it stylistically looks really cute, and I've always drawn hair highlights like that, so I will continue to do so. And this kind of shows that there is a little bit of a difference between this strand and this strand here, by keeping that little bit of highlight in. And then I just need to do some general highlights on the hair back layer. If I can find it back here. We have quite a few layers going on here. Change this, put it on a Add layer, put it next to the hair back. Yeah, edge highlighting is super useful. Even if it's not super noticeable, it adds just like a little level of detail that I really enjoy. This one I'll do like... Actually, you know, we're gonna put this up above here for a second, because just like with the shading layer on the hair back, you need to account for the fact that there's a middle hair layer that creates the hairline. So we're gonna do the same thing that we did before. Hey there, Retro Bite, how's it going? How you doing, Retro? I hope you are having a lovely day. Can I erase? Clip Studio, can I please erase at the opacity that I'm asking to erase at? And then we have some nice highlights around here. Doing good, just got off work. Oh, awesome. Well, I hope you had a good day at work. And there, and now it blends in perfectly the way it's supposed to. So the only other thing that we really need to do, and this is something that I do over top of everything else, and it does not move. You do not do this on actual live 2D models. If you do this on an actual live 2D model, your rigger is going to hate you. So what I do on like little tiny animated pieces is I take a layer on top of everything else I've made, and I take a really kind of dark orangey, yellowy, reddy color, just like a dark warm tone color, and I go and I add a gradient on some of the like points of the face that I want to pop out just a little bit more. And this is going to look really weird, but I'm going to put it there. I'm going to put it on my chest a little bit as well. And then we're going to swap it to an add layer and turn it down a lot. And it kind of gives your face that sort of glowy look. And I really like doing that on top of my stuff. Since this model isn't going to be moving a ton, it helps bring out some of the highlights and just a little bit of warmth to the face a little bit. Delivered 3 weddings, one was covered in dripping pearls, so much anxiety. Oh no! Well, hey, I'm glad that you got it delivered at the very least. Oh my god, I could not even imagine how stressful that has to be. But I normally go in and add just that as like a little thing, and like sometimes I'll add other contrasting colors as a little gradient over top as well, and I make sure that I keep the opacity on that kind of layer very, very low. Because if you make it really like bright and obnoxious, it's too much of a change, if that makes sense. And it makes your art look kind of muddled, and that's not what we're going for here. I do want to change one more thing. Where is Boo's face? Boo, your face is bothering me. Your face is bugging me, Beauregard. It's very cute, but one of your eyes is too big, I think. We're gonna make your face fit your face a little better. Make your eyes a little smaller. Go and make your little cat face a little more pronounced. There we go. Much better. And then the only other thing I want to do is I think I want to add that little transparent effect that we did to the tail to Beauregard. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go like this. Create selection, and then boop. Go in a little bit more. There we go. There, we made Boo's tail transparent at the end. But so this is all we really need in order to bring this into Live 2D. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to close out of this because we had this open as a reference. This is our lovely model that we're working on. At some point this will get finished. But before we go into Live 2D chat, I'm going to count all the layers that this has. Let's see how many layers it takes to do an animated headshot in Live 2D. We've got 1, 2, this one doesn't count. This one can go away. That's not actually there. That's not part of that. It's just the paper layer that comes with every Clip Studio file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39 layers for an animated headshot. Hi there, Puntin Poppin. Thank you for talking for Persephone for me. But we are just about done with this, so what we need to do now is save this as a Photoshop document because Clip Studio and Live 2D are not compatible. You need it to be in a Photoshop format. It's also very important to note that if you have any special effect layers, you need to make sure that they are on either an add layer or a multiply layer. Thank you for the head pats and the hydrate. But Live 2D only accounts for multiply and add layers. They will not work if you have any other type of layer. It'll look really weird. It'll switch it to a normal layer mode. But first, before we swap over, if you have something to drink, anything non-alcoholic counts, take a sip with me and tell me what you're drinking in the chat. Make sure you stay hydrated, y'all. Love this peach water. I've almost made it through a liter. What I'm gonna do is when I end stream, I'm just gonna chug the rest of it. How about that? Water. Hey B, share your cold brew with me. I want cold brew. I should make boba after stream today. I might make some bubble tea after stream. But so once we convert this into a Photoshop file, what did I name that file? Hang on. I think I named it Animated Headshot 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, I did. I'm very funny. All of my file names, with the exceptions of my commissions always get named whoever the client's name is and then like the type of commission it is. But if I'm just drawing for myself, I name my files the stupidest shit. So let me actually swap over here from Live 2D from Genshin, not Genshin. Wow, hello brain. I'm reading the layers in my OBS, but from Clip Studio into Live 2D here. So this is Live 2D. And then all I need to do is take my file that we just made and drag it into there. And we're gonna do full scale preview. And it'll take a second and then it'll import it in. It's a fair trade. Listen, I'm so down. I'm so down, B. I will give you boba if you give me cold brew. So you'll notice it looks a little bit different, and that's because of the add layer we have on top of everything. And you'll also notice that like my eyes and stuff are not clipped properly. All of the clipping layers don't transfer properly, so you have to re-clip everything, and you have to change all of your add layers back to being add layers in Live 2D. So I just click this button, and then that goes back to normal. And then I take my eyeball, and this section here has all of the clipping information, and all of my eyeball stuff has to clip to whatever the eye white layer is. So that's just called Art Mesh 10 for this one. So I do this, and then I click that, and then it goes back to being normal on this side, and I just have to do that for both sides. And to me, this is like a really easy way to just make sure that in little animations that you do, that you always have the freedom to move the eyes around however you want. So I always clip things like this when I'm working for Live 2D, even if it's not a full model. So earlier, I did talk about something important that I believe some people were a little confused about. It was called art meshing. I'm going to explain that in just a moment. I just want to save this first, so if Live 2D inevitably crashes on me, I don't lose my file. So I'm just going to save this. The transparent part of the hair is always so cool. I love that detail so much. Thank you! It is also one of my favorite parts. Okay, so that's done saving. Yippee! But so what we do for art meshing is on all of the layers that move, it doesn't have to be on all of them. Technically, it just has to be on the layers that you're interacting with, which is admittedly most of them on a piece like this. If you're doing an actual model, like a full Live 2D model, do it for everything. You need it for everything. But we click this button up on top here, and there are presets that you can do. I'm going to be lazy because this is not like a super in-depth rig. And you can do essentially heavy, little, or there's something called standard, and I don't really know what that really is. I don't normally do that one. What if I stole your boba mix and put it in cold brew instead of milk? I would be so angry at you because the boba mix that we have has tea in it. Don't do that. That's mine. It probably would taste good though. But I normally go through each piece and just assign them the heavy deformer, and then if there's something that I think I need to make a more detailed art mesh for, I can go in and do that myself. But this is really simple, so we're just going to go through and assign all of these a heavy deformer. and go from there. I was on Pinterest and got scared by motherfucking yippee! It's the yippee jump scare for me. I try to do this a couple of parts at a time because something that I've noticed is that live 2D sometimes fucks up and deletes things. It'll like make something invisible and you won't be able to get it back. Oh, thank you so much for the 100-bit cheer, Pinks. I appreciate it. Like right here, like look, this piece has disappeared now for some fucking reason. It does that sometimes and I don't know why. Have you ever gotten commissions for both drawing and rigging a 2D VTuber model? So I have not, and the reason for that is that I currently don't offer rigging commissions. I am confident in my ability to rig things that I design, but if I'm working with something that someone else has designed, I'm always worried that I'm like not a good enough rigger basically yet to do it. So I don't mind rigging small animated things like animated screens and stuff like that, but rigging a model and doing toggles and stuff is very, very different. And because of that, I don't actually offer rigging commissions, so I actually haven't. One day I really do want to open myself up to doing rigging commissions and just have it be like a whole package thing. But right now I do not. One day maybe, hopefully. I actually am not going to add art meshes to the background piece. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. Actually, that doesn't need to be at 100% opacity. I'm being dumb. That can stay the way it is. So we have all of the little animated pieces now that are on their own art meshes. And what I'm going to do now is I normally start with the eyes. So there is this thing here that's called eye open, and I just kind of relabel it eyes. And this is for if you want something to blink. And I rig this exactly the way that I do for regular live 2D models, but instead of doing the eyes separately, which is what you would if you were doing a real model, since this is just an animated piece that's gonna loop, I can just do it all at once. Although actually, you know what? Thinking about it, I did want this character to be able to wink. Maybe we won't do that. Maybe we will do them separately. You know, yeah, let's do them separately. Screw it. Because I want this character to be able to wink when they turn their head. So we'll do IL first. And you take this, and this basically creates a bone inside of the piece that you're doing. And I make 2 points here, and then I add a third point at around 0.3, normally 2.5, 0.25, 0.3, things like that. What rigging program are you using, and is it free? Because as much as I'm trying to practice and rush to be great at art, I'm curious about rigging through animation, and it's kind of intimidating. So the program that I use, unfortunately, is not free. It's called Live 2D. They do have a free version that is very limited, and they also have a free trial that you can use for their pro version as well. But that is kind of, I think honestly that might be like the only program that I've seen people using to rig VTuber models. I don't think there's really a lot of other options in terms of choices. A bone in the eye? That makes no sense. Hee hee. Yeah, and then I just, I make essentially 3 points of animation for the eyes. One of them, obviously, is when the eye is completely closed. And then the second one is when it's kind of half closed. And then the third is when it's open all the way. So when it plays, it looks like it's blinking. And I know that not all of the pieces are moving right now, so it still looks really weird. But what you do is you go through and you take every piece of the eye, and you do the exact same thing, basically, where you're creating little points of animation. So this is just for the lid layer. But this is just going to kind of move down a little bit. And the lid changes shape a little when it closes, because the lid itself gets, you can see more of it when your eye closes, so I'm going to leave it as a similar shape. Let me give you nightmares. Blender animated 2D VTuber model. Oh my god, that sounds like a hellscape. I know like 2 things about Blender. 1, it's very hard to use. 2, I hate it. I've used Blender like twice in my whole life and I didn't like it. It's so hard to make things in Blender. So we're going to do the same thing with this part of the eye. So the bottom piece of the lid is something that you don't really think about moving very much. I like to add a very subtle amount of animation to the bottom lid, like not a lot, literally not a lot at all. I just kind of move it up and make it a little bit flatter on the bottom. And to me, it feels a little bit more realistic when you do it that way. Like you just get a tiny, tiny bit of movement there, if that makes sense.
How is using a blender difficult? You just put fruit and milk and turn it on.
Not a blender, Boo. Blender the program. Boo, you don't know how to use Blender. Actually, Boo Regard, I might be lying. If you know how to use Blender, please teach me because I suck at it. I've tried, it's not fun for me. So for the eyeball, we're gonna do a very similar process. The eyeball, I actually take the, where the hell is it? Brain, this tool. So this tool here, you see how there's two circles? The inner circle is what gets moved the most when you click, and the outer circle is how it kind of fades out. So I can kind of take these points and move them. I'm gonna make this tool a little bigger first though. So I like to take this and kind of curve it down as things are moving. And I also like to squish the eye a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot, as it closes. So it kind of looks like it's moving and closing, and then we just take this and we go like that. And then it creates like a little eye close and open effect. And we do the exact same thing with the eye white, which is the clipping layer that controls what you see of the eyeball. So like, not like that, hello. 2 points there, 1 point here. Don't learn Maya instead. I've heard really good things about Maya. I have never used Maya before. It sounds very interesting. I've also forgotten to clip the eye lights onto the eye white, but we'll fix that in a second. So I go eye light, copy one, and I take, it's Art Mesh 10 for this eye. Clip these to the eye white. That did not clip properly. Clip to the thing, thank you. So now, when I go onto this, I go like this, the eye opens and closes. There's a very small error happening here that I want to fix. Here and kind of move this inward. I like to make like small adjustments as things go. Like this obviously should not be showing up in front of the nose. Just gonna kind of like that. And then you have one eye that can close. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing to the right eye. For your giveaway, did you want a full 360 ref for the character or just a flat full body? Either is fine. If you have the full 360 ref, that works perfectly for me, but any sort of full body is fine, or even like a waist up, because obviously it's going to be a headshot, just so I can see all the details that I need to draw. Like, honestly, if you have a character that you want to enter into the giveaway that you don't have a reference for, using a pick crew, as long as you credit the pick crew artist, is totally fine by me as a reference. I have people who use pick crews as references for their characters when I draw them all the time. Like, honestly, the people who make pick crews are gods, because it has given so many people the ability to create references for their characters when they don't have art of them yet, and it's much easier for me to have a visual reference like that. They are winking at us. They are winking at us. Look, it's me. I give you a wink. I give you a little wink. And so what we do now is we take the eye R open and we do the exact same process. If you're doing this in live 2D for an actual VTuber model, you will have a full symmetrical front view normally of your character, unless their design isn't symmetrical, obviously. But normally your eyes are symmetrical. So what you can do is there is a trick to flip the eye that you already rigged over to the other side. I can't do that for this here though, because we are at a 3/4 angle, and so our eyes look slightly different. So we just kind of Find this, kind of go like this. Make it so your eye is like half closed, and then you make your eye entirely closed. And same thing with the bottom lid. Make the bone. AFK again, to go hang with wife and eat food. Absolutely enjoy your food and enjoy your time with your wife. I'm also adding a separate bone here that just kind of makes this wiggle. And I'll show you how we can do that in a second. So same thing, make those 3 points over again. And then what I'm gonna do is as the eye opens, it's gonna come out this way a little bit. And then it's gonna go like that. So when the eye opens and closes, it's going to look a little bit like the eyelashes wiggling a little bit. And it mimics the effect of physics, because when you go into the animation area of Live 2D, not just the rigging area, as far as I'm aware, physics don't really work. I've never been able to get physics to work in the animation area. If anyone knows how to do that, teach me, please. But so you kind of have to make everything look like it has physics manually. Then we'll take the eye white and do the same thing. And just make sure that it disappears as it's supposed to. Goodbye. Sayonara. Now it does that. I need to reclip the two highlights here to Art Mesh 17 so they look right. Then we kind of get the eye close effect. We're going to do the lid next. Same thing, just kind of create a bone along here. This is going to kind of create a lid shape like this. Actually, this, what I might do is take, because you know, I drew this a little bit weird, actually. Hang on. Make this eye closed. Also, thank you for the save reminder. There we go. It is saved. I wonder, what does it look like when I do this? Because I am dumb, actually. I shaded part of this wrong. I might have to go and make a new layer in Photoshop to fix this. But we might be able to do it without doing that. This is not something you are technically supposed to do when you are in Live 2D. Let me see. I know this is going to look a little weird for a second. Yeah, that doesn't really work. Hang on. Get rid of all that. What I might do is I might have the lid move a little differently than I normally do, because I'm being stinky and lazy about moving this. Go like this. Take you, and I go you up like this. It'll make the eyelid a little smaller. It also means we can stretch this down the way it needs to be. If not, I might just have to make a new eyelid layer. You know, that's not bad. That won't be bad for a wink. And I just have to fix it for the middle point here.
How does one make non-model animations in Live 2D?
How does one make non-model animations in Live 2D? So I will show that actually in a little bit here, but it is through a part of the program actually that is a separate piece of the program. I'll show you it real quick. It's not going to do much right now, but so if I click File and then I do New, it'll say Model or Animation, and you just select Animation. And then a little option box will show up. I apologize, it's not showing up on my screen because I'm only capturing the one Live 2D window. But you just keep it on the base option here, which says SDK and Unity. And then it brings you to this screen. And this screen has a timeline with all sorts of stuff that you can use to actually animate stuff in Live 2D. And you import the model you create here and the rig you do here into here, and then you can make an animation out of it. And I will show that in just a little bit once we are done with our rig. I'm wondering, do I want... Part of me is questioning if I want to actually have this be part of the eye open. I think I might not. Let's do... Like, slight movement's fine. I think I might make... I'll use the IL smile for this. What we'll do is we'll do this. This like this. This like this. This like this like this, then like this. There, and that can act as the physics for us instead here. I can just kind of have that do a little wiggle if I need to, because since I'm doing like a hard wink, actually do other thing. This should be 3 points, because the middle point is where the actual even bit is, and I can just make the animation of it wiggling a little bit more manually. This needs to come back in just a little. That's fine. I like adding really small movements to a lot of pieces in Live 2D. One of the other things I actually really like to do is we're going to take the I, R, and IL open. I'm going to take this. And this is for the right eye. And when your eye closes, you get very slight amounts of eyebrow movement. So I'm going to move this down just a little. So that way when our eye closes, our eyebrow moves down just a little bit. So it kind of follows that. It's not a lot. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want it to be like you're kind of changing your expression, if that makes sense. It needs to be very, very slight. Otherwise it's going to look overdone. But it can add a lot of like nice little bits of movement to a face when you do that. You can't really see my other eyebrow, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then what I normally do is I take the angle X and I turn it into a head layer for like the overall movement of the face, because we're going to have my face bobbing back and forth just a little bit. Let me save real quick, and what we're going to do is we're going to select all of the layers. I missed some of the hair layers on when I was making meshes. Hang on. So you're going to take all of the layers that incorporate the head. So the hair, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, all of that, and the head base itself, as well as the hair back layer. And I'm not going to include the mullet in this because I want the mullet to move separately from the rest of the head. And we're going to make a warp deformer. That warp deformer we're just going to call head all. And what that does is I can now behead myself. I can move it around and do crazy stuff with it. And then we're going to make 2 points. Actually, I guess we'll do 3 points actually on angle X with that warp deformer. And what we can do is we can adjust and kind of tilt my head back and forth slightly. Don't lose your head now. Exactly. But you can kind of tilt your head back and forth. Actually, you know what? We are going to only do 2. Thank you for the save reminder. We will do that. We'll only do 2 because this is a very simple rig, and we'll just kind of move the head shape back and forth, and we can kind of create like a bobbing effect like this. And we do need the mullet to move with it as well a little bit, but we're going to do the mullet separately because the mullet needs to move in a very different way from the rest of the head. So we'll do all the pieces of both of the mullets. Do this and just label it mullet all. I mean, if you're a Dullahan, it doesn't matter much. If you lose your head, you'll just find it eventually. That is true. But so we'll have mullet all, and we'll also have that have 2 points on here. All that is we're going to take this and we're going to kind of adjust it slightly so it kind of moves just a little bit with the rest of the head. And I'm going to adjust this inwards a little more. You don't want it to move a lot. It doesn't need to, because this isn't like meant to be the layer where we actually make the hair flow back and forth. It's just making it follow the movements of the head. We'll get into mimicking what it looks like when there's hair physics in a bit. So it follows and stays and doesn't look weird. And then we kind of get this effect where now the head is moving back and forth like that. Also, I'm in like permanent wink right now. Let me open my other eye back up. So now you have it so the head can kind of bob back and forth. And if you really wanted to be super detailed with this, you could also do like an actual head XY angle and make the head turn. I'm not doing that because this is meant to be relatively simple. But then what you do is you take the head all layer and you make another deformer on top of that, and I'm just going to call that head all Y. And you can kind of do the exact same thing, but give it a little bit of bob up and down instead. Like, nothing too fancy. So it kind of goes like that. And I know that seems very strange, but I promise it will make sense in a moment. Because if we click these little toggle buttons right here, it puts these two parameters together, and you can go like this. And now you have a little bit of up and down movement, and I look like a bobblehead. But when you put these together, you can sort of make it stretch in and out and have little bits of movement there. I'm also going to add to the angle X and angle Y that we do, the neck shade layer, because if you have the neck shade layer on just a deformer and you have it move with angle X and Y, so like slide it this way a little bit, kind of adjust the angle a little, and then same thing going this way, where like it kind of shows more. You can kind of see the depth of you moving a little bit more. Actually adjust this side as well. I don't want it to move quite that much. Kind of like in there. And then you can just kind of see the neck shadow move with the rest of the head. And I'll do the same thing for the Y angle as well, where you just kind of move it down a little bit to account for the head moving down. And then when you put it all together, it looks kind of like this. And you can move it around at any point in between that. And then we'll get into adding the hair shaking and moving back and forth where it looks like it's waving and stuff in just a little bit. Oh my god, bobblehead cast figuring, yeah! I actually am gonna do, not auto. We're gonna change how this is meshed out, because I need to be able to do a different kind of meshing for this. So I mentioned that I wanted to have the tail wiggle a little bit. The easiest way to do that is through one of two methods, either with bones or by just editing the mesh itself. I want to use bones, but I do want to make it so the mesh is a little bit more consistent with what we're going to need to move it as. So I'm going to outline this. Just kind of roughly. You want to make sure that your meshes, by the way, when you make them, have like a little bit of space around whatever the actual shape that you've drawn is. Otherwise, you can get some weird clipping issues. Like, I made this a little too tight in here, so we're gonna back that up a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna try to see. I haven't ever done this particular type of animation before. I've done it, I think, something similar in a couple of my animated screens, but I want to try to get it a little bit more detailed than normal. So what we do then is we take this and we're gonna go and create an outline around the lines specifically. Like that. And then this is going to be like this, where you're just making little zigzags all the way through. Hang on, that's not correct. Get rid of that. And I'm going to be deleting some of these points because some of these points don't need to be here. Get out of there. And then the inside is going to be meshed differently than that, so that way it all makes sense and can move properly. And this is something that you can do with much more complex rigs as well. Wait, hold on, what is happening there? Hang on, there is something funky happening there. That is not what I asked you to do. Get rid of... Why is that point being weird? Okay. That... It's like auto-connecting some of the points and I just need to fix it. There we go. Once you go all the way around, reconnecting all the points that need to be connected on the outside, what we can then do is we can take the inside and do something different. So I want there to be a central line right here, basically. And then I want to connect these up like this. And I'm hoping that this prevents us from having a lot of breakage when we try to do this animation. Because one of the things that you'll notice if you do the default rendering is it can break your line art and make it look really gross when you're trying to turn and curve things really, really like harshly. So I'm hoping that this will fix that. We will have to see. This is a little bit experimental for me. I haven't quite done this way before. But so what that does is then when we add a bone to Beauregard's tail, it makes the movement a little bit more fluid and it doesn't break the line art when I turn it. If I did this with the default rig for the meshes, it would look really strange. And it would make the line art get all like broken and there would be little harsh edges everywhere. It would be bad. So we will make another layer. I'm just going to use the eye smile layer. For little tiny animated things like this, I normally just relabel the things that are already there and adjust them as I need them. So we're going to rename this Boo Tail. And what I really want to do is I want to have it like change its form a lot. I don't know. I've never actually done this particularly in Live 2D before, but I believe what I need is 3 points, and the middle point is actually going to be like this. And you can see there's a little bit of breakage still happening, just because I'm not the best with meshing, and this is why I don't offer rigging commissions, because I am still learning about rigging, but the middle point is going to be like this. This point's going to be like this, so it kind of goes like that. This is going to come over here. And it kind of wiggles, does a little wiggle back and forth. And then I want to actually copy this movement here. So we're going to move this like that. I think I actually need one more bone joint here that kind of goes like this. And so now, when we go back and forth, it kind of looks like his tail's wagging a little bit. I want to see if I can make that more smooth. Hang on. I can get this to be like almost like it's straight up and down in the middle. Because this moves a lot more than that does. I'm gonna curve this a little less. Unbreak that. There we go. We got it kind of like where it's turning a little bit. Just want to like turn this piece inward a little bit. There we go. And then take this and kind of... And what we can also do if we want to add a little bit of extra movement to this is I can create something called a rotation deformer. All that is it's the same kind of deformer that we used before on the head to make it move around, but instead of it focusing on movement and stretching and unstretching things, it just rotates something. So we can take this and move it and have it go like this, so this is kind of aligned with where the tail is. And just kind of go like this. So now it rotates it on an axis when we do this. And actually also make this smaller and adjust it as you go. But there we got a little tail movement going. Adjust this very slightly. Yeah, little Beauregard tail. And we'll get into animate when we go into do the animation for that, making it move back and forth and how you go about doing that, and having it be in a loop. But the last thing we really need for this, because this is a relatively simple animation, is two things. We need to move the background. So I'll relabel this one background scroll. I need this to be at -30 and +30. Thank you for the head pats. So we now have this one for background scroll. This only needs 2 points, and there's a big trick to this. So if you want to make this look like it is moving at the same pace and giving it the illusion that it's looping, you can actually do that in Live 2D. And the way you do it is by taking this, and so like, let's see if I can find a good point to do this at. This stripe ends right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find another light colored stripe, and we're going to move this like, oop, we might not be able to move it that way. Hang on. We do this way is longer. 1 second. This. So, this now scrolls, and what you have to do is you move back and forth really, really fast, and you'll see there's a little bit of a difference where the light point is at each end, and then you have to make it match. I need this side to be right here. Hang on. That looks pretty close. A couple pixels more. That might have been too far. Perfect. See how that is basically exactly the same? And now when we go and make this loop, it's going to make the scroll look like it's infinitely looping, like there's no change at all. And I do want to also take the entire body, so we'll take the chest layer as well as all of the Beauregard layers, including the rotation layer that Boo's on. And we're going to make a new one named... I'm just going to call this Breathe. Actually, hang on, I can't do that with the Boo tail. Hang on. Everything except for the Boo tail. And we're just going to name this one Breathe for a new deformer. And this is to make it so it looks like we're breathing in and out during the animation. So this now controls our entire body and a little bit of Beauregard as well. Oops. Yoinks my body. Goodbye. And what we'll do is we'll take this one down here. It's called the breath parameter. We'll move it up here so I can see it with everything else. And we just need 2 points for this. And all we really want to do is take... Actually, you know what? Thinking about it, I should have added the pieces of the hair into it too. I should have added the mullet into it too, but I've already made another deformer for that, so we won't do that. I'll make that manually. But we're gonna take this and it's gonna be like we're breathing in and out. So this is the base position over on the left side here. We're not gonna edit that at all because this is gonna be like the you've exhaled position. And then over on this side, we're gonna make everything a little bit wider around the chest area. Gonna make slight adjustments to things over here. And you can make more divisions by going like this, adding more of these numbers down here if you need more division points. And you just kind of like, when you breathe in, your shoulders kind of come up a little bit, so I make slight adjustments to like the movement of my shoulders. And then when you do this, go back and forth nice and slow, it looks like you're breathing. And what I'm going to do is make another deformer on top of the mullet and do the exact same thing to the mullet because I forgot to make it part of the body. Because it should be part of the whole body deformer, but I forgot, so it's fine. We can just do it this way with another deformer. This over here, I'm gonna move this a little bit wider so it looks like the hair is moving as it should be with the body when I breathe. And like that. And it looks very dramatic and exaggerated now, but when we put it into the animation, it's going to move very, very slowly, so it won't be as noticeable. I will also do one for the tail as well, because the tail has a rotation deformer on top of it, so I need it to go on top of that. And do the exact same thing. And just make sure that the tail moves along with everything. And so now we just need to add all of the hair physics. And what I normally do is I take the angle Z and just rename it hair. And we're going to add bones to all of the pieces of our hair. And this is the fun part. This is what makes them look really, really cool. So we're going to take all of our individual pieces of hair and we're going to go through and add bones right down the middle. At least for the bangs, it's right down the middle. For the back piece, it's a little bit different. And this is kind of akin to like adding hair physics in Live 2D. If you're making a model, it's not quite the same, but it works off of the same base principle. So just kind of add bones down the center curve line of all the little fringes and pieces of hair here. Same thing with the pieces of the mullet. This one is going to be a little funky because it's got, it's obviously sitting very flatly on my shoulder, so this top part isn't going to move as much, but the bottom part is. And once we have all the bones set up, we go back to the back piece, and we're going to do kind of the same thing. What I do is I go around the bottom, and then I don't actually follow the full point of each hairline, unless I'm doing like a specific point. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have something that can sort of slightly move this piece back and forth without it affecting like the top of the head, because we're going to have little wiggles here. Same thing with down in here. I want an extra bone in here so I can kind of go like this and then like this and have those pieces move independently. And then for the hair toggle here, all we really need to have like simple hair movement at the very least for a simple animation is we take all of our pieces of hair that we just made the bones for and select all of them. So all the pieces of the mullet, the hair back, do not touch the hair mid. Don't touch it. You don't want it. And then all the different pieces of the bangs, and we are going to take all of them and make 3 points on this deformer, or not the deformer, this piece that we are doing here. And then you go in one at a time, and it's just left and right movement basically, and you can select multiple joints on this part of the bone. And so if we're at the leftmost point, the hair is going to be flowing left. It just makes the most sense to do it that way. And you can kind of rotate it and move it piece by piece. And so what I normally do is I take the bottom pieces, a couple pieces at a time, and then stretch them more and more a little bit at each time, and it makes the hair move back and forth. And then when you flip the other way, it's the exact same thing. Kind of take it and move it inwards a little bit. And then you rotate these pieces a little bit at a time, and it creates that sort of swinging effect like your hair is going back and forth. And I want this to curve less as it goes over to this side, like it's sort of furling and unfurling. And we'll take the last piece and straighten it out just a little tiny bit more. Then you've got the first piece of hair movement done. I like to like kind of make it look like it's furling and unfurling as it goes. So what we're gonna do, actually, I did that wrong. It's on the wrong point. On the middle point here, I'm gonna unfurl this a little tiny bit. And then so when we look, it looks like the hair is kind of furling and unfurling. And it's gonna kind of wag back and forth like that when we put it into the animation. And then we just do that for all of those parts. So I'm going to take the middle point, turn this down a little bit. That way this looks like it's moving properly. I select multiple points, thank you. Sometimes selecting multiple bone joints in Live 2D can be kind of a pain in the neck. It likes to be very finicky about when you select them. Kind of move this up, and then we get that same sort of movement, and it's cool because you'll get these little bits of movement where you can see the hair crossing over each other more in certain places, and that creates more of a 3D effect when it's moving. Same thing here. Oh, I just realized that my hair shade layer is not currently clipped properly. We'll fix that in a moment as well. You can see the shade layer here is not supposed to be showing through there. And we also make the shade layer a separate layer from the head specifically so we can have things move back and forth as the hair is moving back and forth. It's a super fun little trick. Not everyone does this with Live 2D, and I wish more people would because it looks really cool when you do it. And this can be boned really like simply. It doesn't have to be a super big thing, but you then just take it. Same thing, 3 points as the hair for the entire thing. And move this inwards to show that the hair has moved inwards. Move this outwards to show that the hair has moved outwards. Hi there, Winter. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Half Moon Hollow. Then, as the hair moves, as we finish it, obviously, it will move back and forth. And I need to clip this to the head. Because this is not supposed to show on any other part of the body, so we just do head, and then now it'll only show underneath the hairline, basically, as things move. Thank you for the save reminder. We will save right now. Every time I save for like half a second, Live 2D will just panic and stop working. It'll like freeze for a moment, and then it'll go back to normal. So we can do this. Actually, hang on. One of these pieces wasn't moving quite right. No, those two are both moving fine. Oh, I see. It's the hair shade. 1 second. This part hasn't been done yet on the hair shade, so this needs to come forward like this, so you can see the shadow moving, and then this needs to move away to follow the movement of the hair away from you. There we go. That's better. So then we'll just do the same thing for this fringe piece. We'll select all of the bones at the bottom. And the reason I'm not selecting all the bones at the top, by the way, the reason I never select the last, like, normally it's either the last bone or 2 bones, it depends on the strand of hair and the length of the hair, honestly, is because you want the base part of your hair to stay still, because your hair is attached to your skull, and that part doesn't move. So you want it to be more flowy down towards the bottom and move less up towards the top of your head. And we can just take this and kind of rotate it and move it a little bit at a time. So that gives like a basic movement, and then we select even less of the bone joints. Move that a little bit more, rotate that a little bit more, and just do that all the way down to kind of create like a curve effect, basically. Why is that not actually rotating the thing I'm asking it to rotate? Hang on. Live 2D, stop being so finicky challenge. Level impossible. Then I'll just take, whoop, not like that, we're not editing the mesh, thank you. Take this and kind of tilt it up right at the end so it looks like it's curving. And then you get this kind of effect. And we'll do the exact same thing going the other way for this strand. It's not going to move quite as much going this way with the rotation, because otherwise the live 2D meshes will start getting icky and confusing, and you don't want it to break and rip your line art. So we're going to kind of, instead of it going like a full like flip back and forth where now it's flipped up on the other end, it's just going to look more straight on this side. And then you get this little effect. I think I want to move this kind of up this way a little more. Kind of like it's going up and swinging out a little bit. And this is also where doing like custom art meshes can come in handy, because I know I could make this look better if I did custom art meshes, but since this is a really simple animation, there's not really a need for it. If this was a full model, I would, and you could do basically what we did for Beauregard's tail, where there is a line down the middle and then different sections after that that can turn, and it'll make it look much more realistic. But since this is a very simple animation, we just don't really need that. And now the hair flips back and forth in front, and we just do that with pretty much every piece of hair. The hair back moves a lot less. You want mostly the little fringes and little spiky pieces to move, which is why we have these bones right here. So we can do, since the hair is coming this way, this will flip upwards, and then it will flip downwards a little bit, like that. That's actually a little bit much. We can lessen that a little. You don't want to overdo it, especially on like these little animations, because this isn't physics, so you can't turn the setting down to make it react less. It's just flat animation. So you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it. You can always kind of overdo physics and then turn their settings down, and you can't really do that when it's a flat animation. I kind of move this section in a little bit to kind of give the effect that our hair is flowing out that way. Bring this up here and over a little more. To make sure that that still lines up there. Same exact thing in the opposite direction. And this is very like small amounts of movement. You don't need this to be super showy to have it create a nice effect. So then you get something like this. I don't really like, hang on. I don't like how bulbous you get. Let's not do that. We'll bring this out like this instead. That's a little better. Adjust this in the middle a little too. And just like this. Then you get like a nice amount of hair movement. Now, you'll notice there are some parts for the hair mid that are breaking a little bit, and this is where we add the adjustments for the hair middle in. So I just kind of make a couple of bones that go through here. And we'll do 3 points just like normal. And then we just make sure that instead of focusing on like making it look like it's moving, making it look like it matches up with the rest of our rig. That matches fine there. That needs to move in just a little bit. And then this needs to match up right here. And we'll do that for all 3 points. That matches up okay. That a little bit. And these are very small minor adjustments, and this is just you don't normally need this when you're doing like a full model rig. This will normally be different when you're doing a full model rig, but for the little animations it works better to just have this middle layer that you can kind of slide back and forth when you need to. I think this curves too much. Hang on, I'm gonna undo a little bit of the curving there. That's better. Alright, and then we'll just go and do that for all the mullet pieces as well, because the mullet pieces need to move with the rest of the hair as well. So as this curves up this way, it's going to come up just a little bit. Not a ton, just a little. And it's going to come down a little bit and uncurve, become a little bit straighter in the other direction. And this one, because of the way it's facing, is going to curve up like this a little more. Curve down like this. I don't like how this is bending, though. There we go. That's a little better. And then we'll take this piece, and this is going to move the least out of all the pieces, honestly, because we need to make sure that nothing up here moves too much. Otherwise, it's going to look like our mullet is flying all around, and it shouldn't do that because it's resting on my shoulders. So this piece down here is what we want to really kind of have the motion be for, because this is sort of falling off of my shoulders, and it's going to move the most as like my head is turning and stuff. So we'll do, this moves like this. Uh-oh. Hello! My cat has woken up. Hi, Gage. You here to be stinky? He's like, hi, you're streaming for longer than normal. Why are you like this? Every time I stream for even a little bit longer than I normally do, Gage gets very cranky. Don't you, buddy? Like, the other day when we were streaming Beyond Good and Evil, he decided that as soon as 6 o'clock hit, that it was time to choose fucking violence. And he started, like, climbing up on my desk and trying to stop me from beating the final boss of the game, which was really funny. Isn't that right, buddy? You're so stinky. Mullet go burr? Yes, mullet does go burr. So this kind of moves back and forth. This looks right. This is doing something weird up here. I'm going to adjust that. That's better. And it looks a little rough down at the bottom, but you're not going to be able to see that, so I don't mind it so much, because this is going to get cropped. It is the beauty of animating live 2D. You can crop some of the extra stuff that you don't want seen out at the bottom when you're doing little animations like this. Same thing for this. We're just going to kind of move this further this way. Gage, please stop attacking the desk, buddy. He's such a pain in my butt. He has like a whole half of my desk that he's allowed to jump on and stuff too, and he just refuses to. He's just stinky. Let's see how that looks. Need this piece to move in a little. And this to move in a little bit more, because it moves a little too much, I think. That's better. And then this will be the last piece of the hair that we're animating in here. And from there, it's just kind of setting things up on the timeline. Oops, I just minimized it, hang on. Thank you, Live 2D. But from here, it's just kind of finishing this up and then adding any other special effects that we would want. Sometimes I do like lighting effects where the light flickers and stuff in a piece, but I don't really want to do that here because this is just kind of a basic thing. There's nothing overly spooky happening other than Beauregard chilling next to me in this picture. Adding another bone here so I can just kind of adjust the tip of the hair a little bit. Actually, I adjusted that the wrong way also. This goes this way. Oh my goodness, hello buddy. Get down, please. Get down. Let this piece move upwards a little bit this way. See, this is like moving too much. It looks like it's growing and shrinking, and that's not what we want. Hi, buddy! I apologize to chat if you can hear the boy screaming. He has decided that it is cuddle time. Hi, bud. No, you can't have cuddles right now. I know, I love you. He's so scrungly. This needs to come. I know, I'm so mean to you for not cuddling you immediately as soon as you start waking up and yelling at me. Hi, yes, you can have some pets. Yes, hello, I love you. Yes, buddy. He's so stinking cute. He's lucky he's so stinking cute, otherwise he wouldn't get away with being such a bastard all the time. I love this boy so much. This cat is literally my bestest friend in the entire world. Don't worry about the kitty meowing, it's just adorable to listen to. See, my problem is that when he meows like that, y'all can't see this, but he's putting his front paws up on the edge of my desk and trying to destroy the desk, so I have to care a little bit. He chooses violence every day of his existence. So that is all we really need in terms of, like, movement and stuff. Yes, Gage. So we'll go over here now into this area, and I'm gonna make this 2000 by 2000. Hang on. 2000. This is gonna make all of my toggles go insane because I'm typing numbers. Okay, we're good now. But we want this to be a square canvas, and then what we're gonna do is I have to make sure this is saved. And I'll grab the file from my files, and we can just kind of drag it into the program. Need animated headshot to electric boogaloo. There we go. And you'll see now there's this line here that is the entire canvas that's actually going to be seen, and all the extra bits get cropped out. And we're gonna make the timeline change a little. This is gonna be just a simple, like, 10-second looping animation. I open this up, and you can see all the parts down here now, and you can adjust them on the timeline. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the head angle. I'm gonna make my head start, like, down over here. Will you stop, please? Oh my goodness. And it's very important that whatever point your animation starts at, it also ends at. For each individual piece. Otherwise, it won't loop properly. This needs to come out this way. So, duplicate that over here, and what we can do now is we can make the head bob back and forth. You can kind of see now when we click play, my head will move. And we just kind of adjust things as we need to until we get them how we want. Age, cut it out, buddy. You know what, y'all? I'm gonna take like a 2-minute break real quick, actually. Right before we finish animating this, I'm gonna go to my BRB screen. I'm gonna go and cuddle Gage for like 10 seconds so he stops being stinky, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I'll be right back and we'll finish this up. Hello, I'm back. I'm hoping the cats have been placated. Greetings, we're back. Sorry about that. Ah, live duty, stop being a fuck. There we go. So we're gonna get kind of the head motion down first. This just kind of... Yippee! Yippee! And I'm gonna misalign these on purpose here, if I can. Very slightly. And what that does is it kind of creates this effect of like a more natural curve. There's no like one specific stopping point. It sort of creates the effect that you see when you have physics. And then we just kind of make it loop a little bit. So now my head will now bob back and forth. And that's the first step. And what I'll do is I'll, generally speaking, take some of the pieces in the middle and make them different so it doesn't feel so mechanical, like it's just doing the same kind of movement over and over again. So then we'll do this. Hang on, this is coming that way. So we want it to go up here, like down here. Adjust these pieces. This to be a little different as well. Yippee! Yippee! Y'all really get me with the yippee. You make my echolalia do the thing all of the time. So it has basically one bigger turn here, and that's going to be where the wink is going to be. And then it kind of goes back to just bobbing slightly. And then the hair, we're going to start kind of to one side. It's really important also that you stagger where things start and end, otherwise everything's going to look like it's moving to kind of like the same beat, and you don't always want it to be doing that, otherwise it's going to feel very mechanical. And you don't want it to come to the same point all the time. That's not terrible for a first start there. We're gonna go and we're gonna add some blinking animations. So when I do eye movements for live 2D animations like this, I don't just have the eye open and shut. What I will do is I will have both of the eyes actually. So we're going to go and do this. Both eyes. They start fully open. And then throughout the animation, they will kind of close a little bit to replicate how our eyes also don't fully stay open or fully stay closed at all times, you know. Like there's squinting, there's things like that. It depends on the expression that you have. So like it's a really slight thing that you can see that my eye kind of closes a little bit and then opens up a little bit more. And then in between all of those things, what we will do is I will create a little blink animation. And then I'll zoom in and I'll just kind of adjust that. Blinking at different speeds is also something I highly recommend, not having them all be the exact same speed of a blink. Like that's a pretty good speed. Well, this one actually, you know what? I lied because I forgot. This one actually, we don't need to have that. This eye is going to stay open. Or do I just not want... I think we're just not going to do a blink right there. Because the first thing that I want the eye to do is I want it to wink. as the head comes back to the highest point. Hi there, Swanry. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Half Moon Hollow. I appreciate you being here. So let's find, like, right in here is where it needs to happen. Close, close one eye. This can stay the same. My cats are doing some shit behind me. What are you doing? So, and then have it come back open right here. We're just gonna adjust the timing on that a little bit. I feel like also this needs to kind of back this way a little. And a lot of what I do with this is like kind of by eye, because like I know visually when it looks right, so I just kind of adjust it as I need to. That's almost right. A little slower here, a little further this way. And for the wink itself, I'm going to make it so the eye stays actually closed for a second, by adding another point next to the first point where it's closed and keeping it at that point. So like right here. Because you want it to hold the wink a little bit. Hey there, Swanry, thank you so much. I appreciate that you like my art. That's very sweet of you. And then we can kind of just continue. This needs to be different. Hang on. Get rid of that. So then what we need to do is we need to have these at this point be the same, so this needs to be like that. There we go, and now they're back to matching. And then we can add a couple of little blinks in as well. So just kind of tag this like that. Oop, wrong piece. So close both of the eyes and then have them both open back at the same rate. And for that, we can actually just kind of like copy and paste that, because that just becomes the little blink animation. And then you can make it blink at different rates and blink at different times. I like to put two blinks next to each other sometimes, like they're doing like a little double blink. So you see we kind of lean in, we do our little wink, and then we put our head back up. See, the next thing we've got is, I didn't name whatever this is. That is nothing, actually. That is not moving anything. We've got Boo's tail, so we gotta mess around with Boo's tail a little bit. So that can start, like, right here. And then Boo's tail, I don't want it to move a super ton. Like, we might not actually use the full range of motion on it. We'll see. Let's see what that looks like. My goodness, Gage, you are being so loud right now. Actually, yeah, I don't like it moving that far to that side. We'll leave it kind of like this for now. We'll have it wave back and forth. Yeah, he's got his little tail going. Thank you for the save reminder. I actually don't think we've saved this yet, so that is a good thing for you to do. We're just gonna name this headshot animation. And have Boo's tail going back and forth like that. And then the last two things that we need are the background, and the background is going to break one of our rules. So you know how I said before that you need to make sure your start point and your end point on a looping animation are the same? For this background specifically, it is not that way. And there's a reason for that. You start your background all the way at one end, and then you want it to finish all the way at the other. So that way when we click play, it looks like the background is infinitely scrolling. And I need to go into my graph editor here and edit this So this graph editor just, it defines the slope with which your movement moves. I know that sounds weird, but we want it to be a straight line so that way it doesn't slow down at all. And that way it looks, when it loops, like it's just going. And it adds a little bit of movement to our background. And then the last thing that we need to do for the animation is really easy, really simple. It's just the breath animation. I normally start it where we are like fully breathed out. But I actually, you know what? I think I want to change that. I think we're going to start in the middle this time. Because I've been trying to work on flexing like the start points of all of my animation points to make it look like they are staggered a little bit more. So we're going to do a breath in, breath out, breath in, and then this goes, so this needs to be breathing out when we do this, which it is, so that should be fine. And now it looks like we're breathing along with everything too. But that is basically it for when it comes to like simple live 2D animations. You can get like a lot of mileage out of really little movement effects and stuff. It's very neat. I want to make sure, did I turn off? Yes, I did. This layer. So if, by the way, if you have both your rig and your animation open at the same time, you can change things and it will automatically reflect the changes in your animation as well. So sometimes if I realize, hey, this looks weird, let's go back and fix that, like I can go back and make adjustments to that kind of thing. Like I might actually adjust the tail just a little bit. The tail is bugging me, y'all. Where's Boo's tail? This guy. I think I just don't want it to move quite as much as it currently is. We're gonna have it kind of come. Where is the layer? There we go. Like to here. And like the one thing I will say is like right now, everything in this is kind of moving except for Beauregard. I kind of want to see if I can make a separate breath animation just for the boy and have it move kind of separately. Thank you for the head pats, by the way. So we're just going to do Boo, breathe. Make this Boo, breathe. We'll just do 2 points. Gonna have him. It's like he's moving a little tiny bit. Hi, Gage. And then I'll adjust his arms as well on the same layer. Buddy. Hi! You are such a screamy little guy. What has been with you the past couple weeks? He's just been, like, extra needy the past couple weeks. I don't know what's going on with him. Hi, buddy. Hi, you saying hi to chat? He loves you, chat. He pretends not to, but he does love you. Gage is very soon today. There you go, that'll be nice. And we can kind of have that be its own thing. Did I not name it? Hang on. It should be underneath the breath layer. Oh, that's weird. It doesn't reflect the name change for some reason, but it reflects everything else. That's really weird. So we can kind of have Boo do the same thing and have him be moving a little bit every once in a while. Actually, in fact, I think I'll do this, and one more point here and have his be a little bit more staggered than ours. There, now it looks kind of like he's moving along with us a little bit. But that is just about it. So all we need now is we just need to export this. And there are 2 different ways to export this. For a simple animated headshot, you can do it as a movie file or you can do it as a GIF. Yes, buddy. That is, yes, you have opinions. I understand. So we do export for image and movie. I like to also export it as a GIF. and it will bring up a little menu that I apologize that y'all cannot see, but it'll essentially say like, hey, what size do you want your GIF to be? And I'm going to tell it to be like a 500 by 500 pixel GIF, because having a GIF that is 2,000 pixels is going to be an incredibly huge file. And you just make sure that you click that it has a loop effect on it, and output work area, and you click OK. And I'm going to say animated headshot is the name of the GIF. And it's just going to take a second while it outputs all the frames. Oh no, do I have 3 arms right now? No! Sorry, I was typing numbers and that screws
Cass,
with all
why
of
do
my
you have
settings.
3 arms?
Listen, sometimes you need an extra hand. I apologize. Sometimes when I flip through my toggles rapidly, it turns 2 of my arm settings on at the same time. And my toggles for my model are all number pad based, so if I put a number into a file name or anything, it freaks out. But so that exports it as a GIF, and then I'm going to export it one other time as a movie. There are 2 different types of files for movies that you can do for like a video file in Live2D. They are MP4 and they are MOV. I like to export it as both. The MP4 is a much lower like file size, so the file size will be smaller, and it's compatible with just about every like default movie player in a computer, so you can play it through Windows Movie Maker, things like that. But if you have a lot of gradients in your movie file, you might notice some artifacting if you export it as an MP4. So if you export it as an MOV file as well, it also gives the option for certain pieces of your animation to be transparent, and it is also lossless, meaning that your gradients will be beautiful and as vibrant as you want them to be. I like to export them as both, because sometimes certain like social media platforms can only take the lower quality file to upload. Like when we end stream, I will obviously do my end stream tweet and it'll show what we made today, and I'll have to use the MP4 file for that because Twitter does not use MOV files. So, you know, you have to work with what you've got with social media. So I'm going to export those real quick. Animated headshot MP4. And you can see because I typed the word MP4, now my heart eyes are on. Stop it. There we go. One day I'm going to set my model up so all my different toggles and stuff are done through hand gestures instead of the number pad. Twitter is very poopy. Twitter is certainly a functioning social media site, /s. But it's going to take a hot second for it to export it as the MP4 and the MOV. So we're just going to sit here while it outputs that. It takes a minute. But that is kind of the basics of animating like little things in Live2D, like headshots or any other thing. This is also how, if any of you have seen any of the animated screen commissions that I do for streamers, where we have fun little animated starting screens and ending screens, that's how I make those too. The same way that I made all the ones that I use in my stream, even my BRB screen where it's got just like my little chibi head floating there with the text in a circle around it. That's all done in Live2D in the exact same way this is. I have to go, but it looks wonderful and I'm glad I stopped by. See you, chat. See you later, Omega. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm actually going to exit out of Clip Studio because I have it running in the background and that is liable to break things. But it takes a hot second to export, even like a simple 10-second animation. It takes a little while to export, at least if you have a computer like mine, which is not like the most optimized in the world. I need more RAM for my computer at some point. Maybe I can make that like a goal. I can put it on my throne, and if people feel like it, they can donate towards me getting some more RAM to make this go faster. Because one day I'm gonna have like a supercomputer and it's gonna go really, really fast and it's gonna be wonderful. Not today, but soon maybe. We'll see. It's gonna take quite a bit of saving up. I had to, unfortunately, spend a little bit of money fixing my computer because my cooling system for my computer broke earlier this year. I got it for cheaper than I thought it was going to be, but it was still expensive. and it freaked me out. I was in the middle of doing commissions and my computer blue screened, and when I checked the temperature of my computer, it was at like, 200 degrees. It was not great. All right, so it's done exporting that way. Maybe. I say as Live 2D crashes immediately. /J. And then I just have to export it one more time, same exact way, just as an MOV file instead. And I'll label that one animated headshot high quality just because, or HQ. Just so that way I know that one of them is the lossless file and one of them is the lower quality one to save space. 200 degrees is cold. I don't know what you mean. 200 degrees is not cold. 200 degrees is melt my PC kind of hot. But yeah, no, it freaked me out. I had, like, it was during, like, a really busy part of my month, too, so I had, like, a ton of commissions to do. And I was like, oh, great, cool. My computer is now completely inaccessible, and if I turn it on at all, I'm risking completely frying the computer. Awesome, great. So I had to, like, bring it into a shop and then export all of the files I needed for commissions onto my laptop, which can barely handle Live 2D. Like, my laptop can barely play Minecraft. It's bad. It's a very old laptop. I had to export it all into my laptop and try to do commissions on my laptop for like a week while the computer was in the shop. It was not fun. But we made it work. It worked. And now my computer works again. So I'm very thankful for it. Nothing else bad is allowed to happen to this computer literally ever. It freaked me out so badly. Because the computer that I'm using is actually relatively new. And I appreciate everyone who supports me because it's because of y'all that I was able to get it. I was able to use money from commissions and my conventions that I sell at in order to buy a new computer. And that was what let me start streaming, because my old computer could not handle running all the stuff that I run for my stream. It could barely handle running VTube Studio, let alone VTube Studio, OBS, and Tits, and BikuBot, and all of the other stuff that I use, like Mix It Up. But while this is exporting, I'm going to actually go and look, thank you for the head pats, at people who are live right now. Who do we have that's live right now that we can raid? Oh, hello, it looks like Casey is live. Hey, guess who we're going to be raiding in a couple of minutes? I'm actually going to set that up now, because we are basically done. I will be posting the finished animated headshot to Twitter, so everyone can see it. You should go and check that out. I'm Astral Arts and then 2 underscores on Twitter, because somebody took my username. How can something not handle tits? That's a good question. I can always handle tits. Except if they're on my body. I don't want them on my body. But let us go ahead and do raid. We're going to raid Casey today because he is our boy and we love him. And don't forget, y'all, if you feel so inclined, if you are subscribed to me, we have fun little animated emotes when you raid that you can use. I will put that in the chat real quick. But you can type our raid message like this. Spooky raid time. Just like that. And if you are not subscribed to me, you are welcome to type spooky raid time with any other emotes that you have. But I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for joining us on our stream today and doing some animation work with me. Don't forget, y'all, keep it spooky.